kind of show it's going to be. And she's like going, oh my God, I'm exhausted already. We're live. Okay, guys, welcome. I'll be a newscaster, shall I? I'll be Charlene. Are you Charlene? Welcome to Real Talk with Simply Deez. This is Dee Bailey. Greetings, everybody, greetings. Welcome to Real Talk with Simply Deez. We are live on Facebook, our page, live on Pamtengo Radio. We are also live on the Tube.
Yeah. We
are live on YouTube. So as you can see, the lovely Shelley Titmus, Shelley Scrumptious, is thinking, oh my God, I'm exhausted and we've not even started. She's going like, but the sun is shining and I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. So with that, it's going to be one of those nights, guys, one of those nights. I am going to tell you now, before we get into anything, put on your seatbelt. Because we are going to be in for a ride. So, how are you, Shelley?
Yeah, okay.
So, if anybody thinks that we've got the giggles, maybe we have. And what's wrong with that?
Yeah, we had a few problems with the internet in Luton today.
Like now?
Like now, it's kind of there, it's kind of not. So
yeah. So if we dip in and then next minute you're thinking, hang on a minute, they're on 3D. What the heck? That's because we've got our phones, we've got our PCs, we've got satellite, we've got everything. Because for us, the show must go on.
It is what it is.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Oh my gosh! Since our show in March, we've had International Women's Day. Yep. That was at the Hat Factory, new location. How was it, Shell?
It's good. Yes. Yeah. You forget that you have got stairs in the building, so when you're trying to like help other people out and you're up and down the stairs, that was kind of new.
Yeah, I can't remember. I said to the lady before you know, the vendors and them, I said, if I do not lose weight today, I want to know why. I want to know why, because there was a lot of, wasn't there? But an absolutely awesome event at the Hat Factory. And yeah, we are blessed, so blessed with so many different things. And the lovely Martin Gaisley, need to shout out to him, Be Proud of Luton, his YouTube channel. And he came along, and to be honest with you, I know we've had COVID, but prior to COVID, he came to the very first, not first, I think it was like second or third International Men's, and he said, I can only stay half an hour. I said, that's absolutely fine. Just need some footage so that we can show people. 5 hours later, Martin's still there filming for us. And Martin has done for probably 3-4 years now, I think. He's been filming, and he came along, and what he's been doing this week, every day, what's today, Tuesday? So yesterday, today, and for the rest of this week at midday on his channel, Be Proud of Luton, he is sharing the speakers that participated on the day, and we are then sharing that out. And yeah, the response has been pretty awesome for those people that didn't attend, and for those that did attend, well, you know how special, do you know what I mean? You know how special it was. So what is the time, Shell? 7:10. And I know my first guest, Michael, ain't got nothing better to do. He'll be on in a second.
I know, he's already been...
Prompt. Is that the word? Prompt. Oh, I absolutely love it. Yes, Michael, we're talking about you. So, greetings to the masses out there. Michael, I do hope you are watching, because obviously, when you used to come into the studio, and I know you've been on the show a few times via Zoom, but we don't start laughing, Shell, but tell him we're getting close to the 1 million marker, Michael.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you might be the one, your egg might be the one that just tips us over to the 1 million viewers. So we're saying to all those that are out there, and please, 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 please share. The reason we say that is because we always find the information that is shared. Sometimes, do you know what? It might not be for you.
No.
It might not be for you, but then your friend will say, why didn't you tell me? I wish I'd have known. How many times do we get that, Shell?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, especially just as we've been sort of like talking about sort of like the Be Proud of Luton YouTube. I mean, he goes out into the community,
Yeah.
any events that are then going on.
Mm.
So you can, if I'm just looking at his YouTube channel now, I mean, like, he was out St. Patrick's Day, both inside and outside. So he's capturing everything that's going on in Luton, and he's not asking for money for this. He's proud of Luton. And to have someone like that that's out in your community and doing stuff, you may not then, because everyone then says, oh, Luton, yeah, right, whatever. It's not right. It's not right. Something like a channel like that actually then proves what we're actually doing out there. And you may not have heard of him before other than listening to this, or your friends may not have heard of it before because you then suddenly share.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's what we do. Plus, plus, plus. Sorry, greetings to all those that are watching. Please, please share. And if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, Shell, actually, before we go any further, Shelley is the producer of everything. When I say everything, I mean just everything. Shelley, what are our numbers for the newsletter? How many people have we got currently subscribed?
Currently, I
Greetings,
think
Roseanne.
something around 60. I'm just
How
waiting
many?
for it to. I'm just waiting for it to.
Did you say 60?
60, yes.
Like what? There's about 1,000. I'll tell you what, you 1,000 plus that are on the page, you're going to get chopped tomorrow. I'm going to do a cross check with Shelley who subscribed and who hasn't. And if you haven't, guess what? So when Shelley gives that number, which she will, and we're going to do a royal ta-da. And at the end of the show, I am going to go back to Shelley, and that number had better increase. Shelley, I said to you, and I think I might mean it, but I might not. I said we will not be broadcasting unless those figures go up. So you guys don't say you haven't been warned. We have got so much going on, guys, at Simply Deez. It's I don't know. It really is a roller coaster. So many things.
There's 59 subscribers.
59.
59.
50, right. Okay. So somewhere.
Our page.
We're giving you some stats today, guys. We're giving
our page.
Stats lady. Love stats. She loves a stat.
It's not including our group, but yeah, our page itself.
Are you listening to this, everybody out there? I need to. They might just pretend.
929 likes or 1.1 thousand followers. So that doesn't work out right, does it? I was trying to work out in my head, and I thought if I could keep it up again.
Because I thought I saw 1 point something, and I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, some people you can follow the page, or you can actually like the page. Facebook does a weird thing, but yeah. So
over 1,000 people and 59 people have subscribed to the newsletter. So that is absolutely shite. I was going to say disgusting, but I thought it's shite. It is. There is so much, and what we're sharing and what we do. If you don't know, please follow, and you will find out. It's about different organisations, different people go in the community that are doing really amazing things. And sometimes you would never know of these things. You would never know. So we have the honour, and we feel privileged that we are able to, we don't have to struggle for guests.
There's always something going on, and we're always supporting someone.
Yeah, most definitely. And like, I very much think, you know, when we talked about Martin just now, what Martin does and how Martin is giving up his time.
Yeah.
And is that not the most important thing? He's giving up his time to help and support others, to help and support the community in a way that works for him. And that's the video. And trust me, it works for us, and I know lots and lots and lots of other people, because I'm sure some of them actually have people doing video, and his gets more views.
Yes.
His gets more views. For him to sort of like offer his services to us, Martin, I don't know if you're watching, but I'm sure you'll get to watch this sometime on replay. So we do thank you so so much. So I need to check and see. I did this on Saturday at a conference that I hosted. I was the moderator. I don't know if Veronica is on. I was the moderator. I thought, moderate, what's that? I thought, host. I thought, why did you say host? Cool, blimey. I was the host. And that was UK's first. See, we're bringing it here. She's part of the Simply Deez crew, the lovely Veronica Ebanks. Has written a book last year. It was published, The Hysterectomy Chronicles. And then she said she was going to do a conference. So said, so made it happen. And it was awesome. So well done, Veronica, and all of the speakers, the consultants, the surgeons, nutritionists. It was proper gold, that event. It was proper gold. So I'm just going to see sorry, Shell, if anybody's out there, because like they're a bit quiet for my liking. Well, it's true,
Well,
isn't
Gary's
it?
there.
Yeah, he put that 10 minutes ago.
Roseanne's still there.
Hi, Roseanne. Hi, Gary.
And Munya's there.
Hi, Munya. Hi, Michael.
Well, he's in there.
He's in also as well. So we're going to bring Michael on in a moment. It's all about all sorts, but also as well, we need to let you know what we've been doing. I think this weekend, I think something like the 9th of April last year is when we actually had our double, so proud, our double book launch. So Life in a Lockdown 2020, Behind Closed Doors, Life Out of Lockdown 2021, Beyond Closed Doors. These books are still selling. You know, I can only keep it real. Gary Huskinson, we are sending massive love and hugs. You got them on Thursday. I attended and hopefully represented the Simply Deez crew at the lovely Avina's home going service. And it was a beautiful, beautiful day. I'm going to introduce you to somebody that I met later on today, because he is actually going to be on the show. But I just wanted to say, Gary, you did your mum extremely, extremely proud. And I know the rest of the family also as well. So greetings, Roseanne, greetings. So those are the books. We've got some awesome events coming up. Michael, are you in the house? Tell you why. The show is, as always, you guys are thinking 3 hours, so long. You watch and see. You're going to blink and I'll be like, come on. Next guest has got to come on. So Michael Wallace, where art thou? I need you on. Ah! Oh, greetings, Michael. Greetings. Welcome, darling. Welcome. How you doing?
Good evening. Welcome. Nice to see you again. Hello, Shelley, and all the guests this evening. Humble pleasure to see you again and be speaking to you. It's been a while since COVID and all the trials and tribulations.
It certainly has. It certainly had. I'm sure you've been on during that period. You've been on during that period because I know we had the two ladies, didn't we? We had I can't remember.
You had Ira and Brunda.
That's it.
Where we were campaigning with the DKMS charity to find a blood stem donor.
That's right.
For those who don't know, there's a lack of donors from Black and Asian backgrounds, those suffering with leukemia. And yeah, we just try to raise awareness and save lives.
Yeah, so they came on, and we had a brief conversation this morning, didn't we?
Yes,
we had a brief conversation this morning, as in, like, I know sort of like you coming on, people be like, oh, I remember him, I remember them, and sort of like just wanting to know if there was any update at all that you could share. Is there?
Yeah. I haven't spoken. Well, I've been in contact with the family, and as far as I know, everybody's well. Fantastic news that Brunda's had another young child, which is amazing news. And as far as I'm aware, everybody is well. We are. I did try and speak again this evening to see how everybody's doing, and it was so humbled that Ira actually, not many people will know this, but she actually drew a picture of me and Ashley that I've got sitting proudly in my living room, that she was just so thankful that we were trying to raise awareness and try and save her life. And her mum kindly, putting me in touch with Ira, and we've been in contact, and she's very grateful. So as far as I know, everybody's well, and we will just keep championing the two, because there's lots of other young people and adults that need a blood stem match. We are just championing, trying to save lives, irrespective of colour, culture, gender, ability, disability, social background. We're all one blood, so we're trying to save lives. That's what Kick Off 3 are doing, raising awareness. So all good so far.
I've gone slightly back to front there, and the reason I say that is because obviously you were on, and I sort of brought them in because there's still many people out there. Because remember, Shelley will tell us any moment now that we've tipped the 1 million marker as in terms of viewers. I don't know why she's laughing, but Michael, I know who you are. There's some faithful followers that will be like, I've seen him a few times, I know who he is. But we do have newbies. There are a lot of newbies out there that have got no idea. There's some geezer, he looks like, I thought it was Arsenal for a minute, but it's not. It's obviously Kick Off at 3. just in case then people, you don't understand, before the haters start lighting up my phone, Arsenal. So just tell them a bit about you and, sort of like, and what you do. And why?
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Once again, I'm proud to say I'm Michael Wallace, the co-founder and director of Kick Off 3, which I set up Kick Off 3 along with Ashley Levin back in it's going back 2017, but we were doing a little bit more before that. But we set it up. We basically met on a London estate, North London estate. We both shared that passion for football. I am, please don't heckle me, but I am a serving police officer. I'm a good police officer. Working from the heart. And I got a quote. It's not a quote, it's something from the heart. I do this from love, not for love. I'm doing it along with people, friends, family, community members, just doing it from the heart. There's no agenda, no tick box, not for promotion, not for anything, from love, just trying to help young people, help adults. So we through the power of football, we set up some charity football tournaments, just giving young people off the streets, off the playground, wherever the case may be, just to come and play football in solidarity. As I've just said, we don't discriminate. We are all one, irrespective of background, disability, ability, colour, culture, whatever it may be. We just want people to come together in solidarity to play sport in a safe environment and achieve all goals and dreams. But it's evolved so much more than just the football, whereby we've been going around the country just delivering, but delivering not just, we've been delivering in our own time. We both have our day jobs. I'm a serving police officer. I work in Brixton. Proud to say I was awarded a Queen's Police Medal by Prince William in January for
I
my.
didn't recognise you, love. I thought it was I thought, all right. And I thought, shit, it's Michael.
Yeah.
Was you proper suited?
Yeah.
It's a shame that I didn't think, yeah. Dig and search, because I'll tell you what, before the end of the show, Shelley was going to go look up and she will find and she'll post the picture so that people can see you receiving that. It was, yeah.
And I actually bumped into somebody in Luton recently, actually, and they said, "Bloody hell, you don't look like a copper." I don't know what a copper's meant to look like, but you don't look like a copper. Maybe because I wasn't wearing the Timberlands and the Burberry coat or something. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I'm just Michael. But yeah, I digress. It's evolved so much more. It's gone from running a football charity events across the country, even as far afield, Northern Ireland. We're due to go to Belfast in May. We go across the country looking for young people that just want to play football. But then we've gone on to so much more. We've organised basketball events, running events. During lockdown, we couldn't do any football. So we done a charity cycle ride. We called it Speed Off at 3, where we had people from Luton involved. And during COVID, a lot of people were cycling and so forth. So by being safe, doing social distancing, we're doing cycling, and we collectively across the country and abroad, over in Canada where my brother lives. Everybody got involved, and we done a charity cycle ride where everybody can, over 4 or 5 weeks, they can run, cycle, walk, use their wheelchair, use a pushchair. Children can go along. Anything that's not motor propelled, they can just get involved. And collectively, between some other community members and we raised over £6,000 for the African, Caribbean, and Kiwi Trust. So we're delighted that we've done so much more. We've done horse race music events. During lockdown, we done for Stephen Lawrence Day a live stream music event. Had young people leading on it, and we've done some football Stephen Lawrence Day events. We've done, oh gosh, racing events,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's been endless. When I look back, I'm thinking, how
if you actually was to look back, Michael, I think even though you do stuff, you just kind of do it, and then obviously, because when you're doing something, you're already planning for the next, aren't you? It's not a case of that finishes, you get a little. Shelley's going like, yeah, exactly. You don't get a little, a couple of months off, and then it's throw yourself back in. It's a case of it's continuous, isn't it? So, like we were talking about this guy that volunteers his time and comes and videos our events. You've just said you're a serving police officer, so that's a heavy load. And then you're still finding time, still making time to make a difference with the young people.
Yeah, certainly, and it's been a massive team effort and people supporting, and I'm very thankful. We've had some great supporters, the Metropolitan Black Police Association, the Royal Air Force, Edacura, Youth Unity. Oh, so many people. I better stop because again,
because you've got to miss people out, and then do you know what? Your phone's going to light up, mate.
Yeah, light up, fire. Look, how did you get me? So yeah, but everybody knows who they are. We were so reliant on volunteers and shall I say that which you'll hear a bit, you're more from Ed, but Kick-Off-Free has made an acting debut in the film Blacks Can't Swim. Play a small part in the film, out on Sky Movies, Amazon, and a lot of and there's a number of young people in the film that they've all taken part. Majority of them in our football tournament. So they're involved in the film, and now, which you'll hear a bit more, I won't spoil it. Ed has got a book out where we're telling his story, where a lot of people that have been involved in Kick-Off-Free, they're on another journey as well. And one of our young people, and he won't mind me saying, we've come a bit of a signposting thing. Well, I won't say thing. It's been amazing. Where one of our people, Jones, who I mentor, he got the opportunity. I was contacted by Anthony Joshua, the boxer. I was contacted by his team during the summer, and they were looking for some young man to support who likes boxing, and I know just the person, and I put forward Jones, and he done filming with Anthony Joshua, and it was a massive hit on TikTok, and there's so many different stories. Rhiannon, who was our social media lead, is our social media lead.
Sorry, I don't know if it's me, but is that is it just me hearing the crackling? I don't know if it's my end, because I'm. Is it? Oh, that's fine then. That's absolutely fine. I'm hearing crackling at my end, and I was thinking I'd hate for it to be disrupting your. That's cool. That's cool. As you were.
No, it's so many stories. Rhiannon, she's volunteering with us, and she's ended up getting a paid job. We put her forward for a job, and now she's in paid employment, doing marketing and social media and all the great for the Black Swimming Association. It's a paid job. So from which she's volunteering, she's got a job. We've got one young lady, Georgia. She was volunteering with us, and she just fell in love with Kick-Off-Free and the ethos. She's now actually she's become a police officer. At the time she met us, she was a student. So we've got some.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Absolutely
amazing things where people are involved in. It's about giving opportunities.
Yes.
And I've mentioned as well saving lives. We've had 2 cases now where a young person, his name is Zach, and a gentleman by the name of Rob, where they gave their samples for the African Cancer Leukemia Trust charity, a swab, to go on a database, which is a database that's shared with Anthony Owen Trust and a DKMS charity. So they're all the same database, and both of them have come back as a positive match for families, and that's come from our Kick-Off-Free tournament. So, you know, you can't write this. Honestly, if I was to write a book, you can't write this thing. This is just.
Well, your whole journey, at some stage, you'll understand it is a book.
Yeah.
Probably one of them as well, to be honest with you. Flim. Not even a film.
A flim. Yeah. Oh, I don't know, maybe we can ask Ed if he could do a film for me. If he's listening now, he's going to go, "Oh, Michael, you're doing me more work."
Oh, my gosh. That is what it's all about, ultimately, isn't it? That is what it's all about.
Yeah. And we've had there again. We've had a Youth Unity. They helped build our website for us and volunteered. We've just had so many different organisations that have seen the value of what we're doing, and they've said, "Look, we want to help you and just give back in some way." And you know, times are hard for everybody right now with the cost of living, but we are looking for sponsors and people that anybody that out there that look at what we do. Please, we run it voluntary in our spare time. So to help young people, we need finance to run the events.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got some up and coming events coming up in the coming months, which includes we're coming to Bedfordshire, 31st of May.
Yes.
Beds VAU, Violent Exploitation Reduction Unit, led by a fantastic team of people. They've been supporting us for a number of years, and they reinvested back into say they want to give back to the community of Bedfordshire and around Luton. So please, big shout out to all the Luton, Bedfordshire massive. Bo.
Oh, most definitely. You know, when you were saying about sponsors, Michael, yes. And you know, obviously in current climate and all the rest of it and that, just letting, and I'm sure you know this, you feel this as well, as in like those out there thinking like, I haven't got any money.
Yeah.
Because sponsors, as in support, doesn't always have to be financial.
Oh, 100%. I to be honest with you, we've gained a lot more from what I'm going to be honest from the heart. Mm-hmm. Somebody's time can mean more than money. Its values more. You know, people have come forward and said, "Oh, I'm happy to do some filming for you, some photography," which we've had some people, Savvy Rocks, and people have stepped forward and said that they'll volunteer and they'll do some video. Anything that there's lots of people out there who've got transferable skills. That's what's opened the door for me by my years of volunteering, and it's opened doors where people see that you're doing it, as I said, from love, not for love.
Yes.
And so we're looking for people. It's not so much the finances, because you know, finances, but it's, you know, somebody's time. Mm-hmm. That sometimes means, to be honest, more, actually not sometimes, it means more to me than actually fun, because somebody's actually wanting to give their time. And one thing in life, you'll never get time back.
Okay.
You might get money back,
yeah,
you never get time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, time is much. So if somebody has got a skill, whatever it may be, they've got a business and they feel they can support in any way, even if it's like they feel they want to give back and feed the young people at the events, you know, if they want to maybe, I don't know, give some of the young people a gift or some T-shirts or trophies, anything to not for us, but to give back. Please, contact us. We're on social media. Contact us, email us, reach out to us, and happily to take anybody that wants to give back in any way they see appropriate.
That's fab.
Volunteering is one of the 5 steps of wellness.
Oh yes, and actually talking
about people don't realise that when you say volunteering, I mean it's not. It always used to be, oh, like there's youth clubs and there's things like this, and it was always right. Okay, that's once a week and it's 3 hours a night or whatever. It doesn't have to be that. All it needs to be, as you said, like over an hour, you can help give out food to someone. It's giving someone that's there all day a chance to have an hour to themselves while you're there, and then they can come back to it. It's quite a lot of people, when they say about, oh, I can't afford the £5 or I can't afford the £10. Well, give me the £1. I don't mind. You get a few people that have got £1. That's all going to add up to exactly the same as the big corporate. I mean, not going to say no to a big corporate, but if a good big corporate was to come in and give you £100, or if I had 100 people give up their time, I would feel more with those 100 people giving up that time, giving up that £1, than I would the corporate that could get your tax relief and everything else on it. Don't be surprised, just that little bit means a lot to anyone at the moment.
Yeah, and And you talked about wellness as well. You know, mental health has been something that's very close to heart for me and my family. And by giving back, you're you're helping one's mental health, and you're helping just a life. Unfortunately, just before Christmas before last, my best friend, one of my best friend's son, committed suicide, and that has, well, it massively still affects him to this day, and that was his only child. And we've all, especially with COVID and all the things and trials and tribulations that we've all been affected with mental health in some way. And you know, our young people, just So now that we've touched wood, we're kind of out of COVID. You know, I know some people are still being have cases of COVID, but if you think back to 2020, when we feels like, you know, no, can't you believe it? 3 years ago, that how the pandemic has affected all mental well-being and people losing their lives, and life changes. So the kickoff free is something that it's helped my own well-being, and I'm trying to just still keep focused, and but we all need support. And one thing I would say is, don't be afraid to reach out for support if you're struggling. You know, a lot of men don't speak up enough, find it hard to talk. You know, and it's something that's affects us all in some way, and women as well. You know, pride. But yeah, we've all gone through something. But yeah, but on a positive note, we're going forward.
You know, the show's called Real Talk,
Real
Mike.
Talk.
So
Yeah.
you've gone sort of like from you know, obviously with the young people and all what you do, and then you've come sort of like to where you are now. So don't glaze that bit. It's very important what you're saying. It's really, really, really important. So I'm glad that came from you. I didn't instigate that. That came from you.
Yeah.
So I appreciate.
The mental well-being is something that it's something that's it's very close to heart, and that's why I do what I do. You know, because I've got a passion. Like many of us, we don't do what we do. Some of us, we're doing it because we've got the heart and the passion. But there's
sorry to cut you. So in terms of like the young people, I mean, you know, you're out there, obviously you're a police officer and you're also doing the kickoff at 3. What do you see? Because you must see 2 different things, because you literally got 2 different hats on. What do you see? And because I'm mindful of the time, and I don't know if is Ed in the wings anywhere, Shell? Oh, he certainly is. Okay. So what can you share for us? And when I say us, we, Michael, we're the elders now. No disrespect to me, mum. We are. So the young people are looking to us. So when you've got people that are doing things, that's that much, I reckon. And there's so much, even if it's a little thing like Shelley said, whatever it is, it's just a little thing. Can you imagine if everyone was doing just a little thing? Because as soon as it's like, I haven't got time, well, do you know what? You need to make time. We all want change. But what are you seeing from the young people? I mean, as in like, what do you think they need? What do you think they want that they're not getting? And how can we, as in the community, the village, call it what you want, how can we support the young people right now? To you.
To be honest, that's quite an easy question, and I know that Ed will touch on it as well, because we've got to know each other very well, because we're both of the same page. What the young people need is role models. They need inspiration. They need hope. They need opportunities. They need somebody to put an arm around them and believe in them. You know, especially when we've got so much. A lot of things have been said very negatively about young people. A lot of things have been said very negative about young black. If you want me to be real, young black boys and girls unfortunately. That's the realness it is. I see it in my job. I see it outside my job. And we just need to give them hope. And like you said, we're the elders, so we need to lay the pathway for them to follow. And sometimes it can be quite simple. And where it says simply Deez, I was brought up with some key things. My mother always taught me is, please, thank you, respect your elders. My friends used to say to me, how come you got so many aunties and uncles? But that's respect. Anybody older than me, to this day, I still call them auntie, uncle. If I call them by their first name, I'll get a box.
You're mad. You must be mad. Not a chance.
Yeah, but if you notice, a lot of young people are mimicking that, because if you notice, they'll come up on the street and say, yes, unks, or yes, auntie. But they're mimicking those values.
Yeah, but I mean, like my son calls Shell Art Shelley, Art Shell, doesn't he?
Yeah. Jordan.
And that's how, if yeah.
It's respect, and as I said, I'm conscious of time, but what and this is something I mentioned to somebody the other day. What touches me is when the young people say thank you. I got a message from a young man recently, and he messaged me privately, knowing that I'm a police officer, but he's seen beneath the uniform that I wear. He's seen me as a human being, and he says, thank you for that opportunity. And I've had other young people. For me, that says it all. And that, I think I'm going to end on that positive note, the thank you. And a thank you to your next guest who comes up, because Edda Q has been supporting me as well.
Mr. Wallace, always a pleasure having you on the show. Always a pleasure. So thank you so much. This is this is like one of those, this is your life. I don't even know what she's going to show. Over to you, Cheryl. I'm just going to get the speakers. Over to you. 2 seconds. I'm just getting my headphones.
I just had to find that one.
Yeah, I could never. I tell you what, I could never do any undercover work now, can I? I've sold my life now. Everybody knows that. Actually, just the other day, believe it or not, I was at an event in London, and obviously I wasn't in uniform. I was asked to speak, and I saw a guy. And he looked at me. He goes, you know when somebody's looking at you, and I'm thinking, oh, do I know you? And he goes, oh, you're that copper, aren't you? So I'm thinking, oh no, have I arrested you or something? But it was all good. We shared a laugh. And it was good though. And that's to be honest, I've had a lot of people that've been very complimentary. So I have to give thanks for God. God has blessed me, so give thanks.
God is good. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, brilliant. Michael, thank you so much. We'll get you back at some stage another time, because there's just so much things that Michael and the team at Kickoff at 3 are doing. So many things where you can get involved. We all sort of say things about the young people. We see things on social media, and they're this and they're that. Well, actually, in reality, that is not the reality. The reality is like this, but that's all we sort of seem to focus on. The young people, give them the opportunities, and you will see the change. So, Michael, thank you so much. And let's see what happens with the lovely Ed. So, bearing in mind, bring him on. Yo. Greetings, Ed. Greetings. How are you?
Not too bad, Shelley. Not too bad, Dee. Michael, what's up? My life has never been the same since I met Michael.
I hear you. That's what the show's called, Real Talk. I want that, Ed. Tell it, man.
And by the way, I've subscribed. I didn't want to be cut out. I don't want to be cut out. I went straight away and I subscribed. It was like, I don't want to be.
I told you. Ed, you did see me do a live. I did a live earlier on, a little live before the Come On to Show. I think I'd done it about 6:30 or something like that. And where we are in Luton, the internet's playing up. So me and Cheryl going like, this is going to be a funny show because we're going to be there off. And anyway, I said I've got this guest, Michael from Kick Off Threes, introduced me to some guy called Ed Akura. I said, I don't know. I'm sure he will correct me if I get his name wrong. Ed, how do I say your surname?
It's Ed Akura.
Akura.
Yeah, Accura. Yeah, Akura. Yeah.
I'm just going to call you Ed, but I just needed to know that.
Call me what you like. Most people do.
Excellent. Right, Michael, we're going to kick you off. We love you, Michael, and we're grateful to have you on. But I need to have that. You're not here for an interview, by the way, Ed, just in case you thought you were. Don't know what Michael's told you. We're just going to have a little conversation, love. We're going to have a little chat. We're going to have a little chat. All right, see you later, Michael. Thank you.
Bye.
See you later. So, Ed.
So we lost Shelley as well.
Yeah, Shelley's a producer.
Yeah.
And Shelley kind of.
Oh, she's back.
Let's get the drink.
Yeah, so I've seen your works. And not sort of like in the past week.
Yeah. Okay.
Not in the past week. So when Michael said, and we talked about coming on the show, and I'm like, ooh, definitely. So to the masses out there, Ed, we beam at Simply Deez. We're beaming. I don't know why Shelley's laughing, but we're near on the 1 million marker, Ed. So I'm hoping, because Michael, I knew that wasn't going to happen with Michael. Let's be honest. So hopefully he's not listening. I knew he wasn't going to take us to 1 million, but I reckon you're the man to do it. Why are you laughing?
I'll try my best.
No pressure.
No
pressure. So I don't want to start with where we are or where you are now, because I don't do that. Okay. It's important for me when I do the show, and to the masses out there, they see things and they think people have just landed where they're at, and it doesn't work like that, and you know that.
Yeah.
So Shelley will make jokes, and I do ask people to peel it back. When I say peel it back, she'll be like, she peels you back like an onion. And I want to go back to childhood. I want to go, I don't know, where were you born, schooling, siblings, just the whole kind of, just to give us a real flavour of where you were and bring us up to today, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
We got time, don't you be worried.
Okay. All right. So where do I start?
I don't know. You got
okay. I'll start with my, and I'll say this one. I've never said this on the show before, but I'll say it anyway. My real name is Frank Awuah, Awuah, Ghanaian. And my state name. So I'm Ghanaian. Both parents are from Ghana. I was born in the UK.
Okay.
And parents, mum was a nurse. Dad was a mechanical engineer. They came to the UK for a better life in the 60s. I'm the first of 4 children.
Okay.
I went back to Ghana when I was 9 years old. Came back when I was 19, 20 or something like that. Okay. And they've been here ever since. So yeah, that's me.
No. You don't. No offense. Because those people out there that are trying to work out their maths are going like 19 to, no offense, love, you're over 30. 19 is like, whoa.
I'm 56 years old, and I can't even hide my age because the Guardian decided to publish my age when they were doing a story. Eda Kira, 53 years old, or learned how to swim at the age of 53, 3 years ago. So yeah, so my age is out there. I'm not going to hide it anyway. So
Okay, so school. How was school for you? How was school?
school was good.
Enjoy it?
Yeah, school was good. I was lucky enough to go to an independence private school, an international school when I was in Ghana, which the irony is that I was the only black, and I think there were the only two black people in my class in Ghana. If you can think about that, it was
Really?
a private school. Yeah.
Okay.
All my classmates were children of diplomats of all over the world.
Okay.
And I like this. And my parents are not rich. They struggled, but they wanted to put us, me and my siblings, in a school, and to get the best possible education. So they struggled, made a lot of sacrifices just to make sure that we had the education they wanted. So yeah, so I thank my mom and I thank my dad for that every time, for to give us the life that we have now and the opportunity to have the life that we have now.
So how old were you, did you say, when you came to the UK?
When I came back to the UK, I was about 18. Yeah, I think I'm 18 years old.
So you'd done all your school, all that education?
I did my secondary education in Ghana, Kumasi, Ghana. And then I came here and went to college, university, and all that kind of stuff. And then I got into IT. So my day job is IT. I work as an IT consultant. That's my day job. Okay,
so do you enjoy that? You must do.
Enjoy? It's good.
It's not the word.
It's a stressful job.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very, very demanding, very stressful. When you say enjoy, I enjoy the returns. I enjoy the money I get from it. And then
keep it real.
Yeah, I'm keeping it real. I make good money out of it, and that enables me to do what I do with the films and everything else. So without my day job, I wouldn't be able to do it. So basically, that enables me to do everything I do with that. So when you say enjoy, yeah, it's good. I mean, it's like I say, very stressful, but with a lot of responsibility as well. But with every all the stress and everything, it pays well. So
that works for you. Okay, cool. So you're doing the IT and all's great in that. So what's led you to start? I don't know if it's the films. What's led you to this sideline? Okay. If that's the
Okay. I'll start. I'm going to give you the very short version of the story. The longer version can be found in the book.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Don't you worry. We're plugging our event, the Black Book Case. We want you there, don't we, Shell?
So it all started in 2018. No, actually, it started long before that. Actually, it started in Ghana. One of my classmates had a swimming pool in their house, and they were having I think it was probably about 10, 11 or something like that. And they were having a party, and they were going to have a pool party. And he invited everybody in his class, in the class. I was in the class, and I told my mum I want to go to the party. And my mum said, okay. And I said, well, I need to learn how to swim because there's going to be. And my mum goes, no, you can't go. And I go, I want to learn how to swim. My mum goes, it's not a priority. It's not important. What you need to concentrate on is your mathematics, your English, your science, or whatever you're doing, that your education. That's what you need to. Swimming, we don't have a pool in our house and we don't live near the sea. So there's no point, you can swim, learn how to swim at any other time. So needless to say, I didn't go to the party. Roll on another 20 years old. So now I've got my daughter. My daughter's 12 years old, Lolita. My wife, Jigisha, she's of Indian descent. So when we had a daughter, the first thing she said was, not the first thing, but she said she's going to have to learn how to swim. And I go, okay. To me, it wasn't a priority. My parents don't swim. My mum doesn't swim. My dad didn't swim. So it was never anything on my to-do list, so to speak. But so at the age of 2 or 3, she decided to learn how to swim. So when we decided she to learn how to swim, so she learned how to swim. And the reason behind me deciding to learn how to swim was because I said to myself that if she was ever in difficulty, she fell into the water and I couldn't save her as a parent, I will never forgive myself. And that's the reason why I decided to learn how to swim. But how the journey started was, it started in Barbados in 2018. We went on holidays with friends and families, about 12 of us, and I make music. So basically, I make music as one of my favorite pastimes, and I've done a number of albums and such under Ed Cura. And so we were on a boat, and this is the short version of the story. We're on a boat, and everybody, I was wearing a life jacket, and one of our friends that was with us said, "Oh, let me take a picture of you in your life jacket so you can put it on your album cover." And I said to myself, that wouldn't really make sense unless, of course, the song has something to do with swimming. So I knew about the issue of a disproportionate amount of Black people that do not swim. So I said, okay, let me make a song. So I started writing down the lyrics, and I said, make a film called Blacks Can't Swim. Someone should go out there and make a film about it. There's a film, in the humorous point of view. There's a film about that white man can't jump. Someone should make a film about Black people can't swim. And so I said, make a film called Blacks Can't Swim. And at the end of the chorus, I said, is it a cultural or physical thing? And so I made the song, did the song, and came back. Holidays over, came back to the UK, and then I put the song out there. And then I got contacted by an organization called Swim in Nature, and they said, "Oh, we've heard that song, we like it. The song that you said, we want to teach you how to swim." And I'm like, "Okay, all right." And they say, "Oh, we'll teach you how to swim for free, and we will teach you one-on-one." And I'm like, "Hold on. I grew up in Tottenham, and I spent most of my life in Tottenham. If someone says they're going to give you something for free, there's always a catch. So what's the catch?" and they said, "No, there's no catch, but we know about the issue with a disproportionate amount of Black people not swimming. But as a white organization, we can't talk about it because of the sensitivity around it. But since you're talking about it, we want to work with you to prove to the world that it's not a physical thing, it's a cultural thing." I go, okay. And right about the same time, another friend of mine said, "You've made a song called saying make a film called Blacks Can't Swim. You're asking somebody to make it. Why don't you make that film?" And I go, "I've never made a film before in my life. How am I going to even start?" But then I go, "Hold on, I've made music videos, and I know a few music directors." So I went to this director. Then we sat down, decided, to put some ideas and all that thing. And then, long story short, I did a short film. Very budget, I think it was about £1,200 or something like that, with the idea of just putting it on YouTube and just taking it from there. Remember, I do all this as a hobby. I still got my day job. So, long story short, we put the film together, and then I put the trailer, 2-minute trailer, on Twitter, and I was surprised. This was in 2018 Christmas. It just went crazy. And a lot of people, I had a lot of Black people coming to me and saying, "Yes, I can relate to that. I can't swim." And my family my friends can't swim, and all that kind of thing. And then I had a lot of white people coming to me and saying, the Caucasians that came to me, I put them into 2 categories. Some said, "I knew about the issue, but I couldn't talk about it because of the sensitivity around it." And then some came to me and said, "I didn't know about the issue. I didn't know there was a problem with Black people in swimming. But now that you're talking about it, I noticed that when I go to the pool, I don't see any Black people there." So I decided to start a campaign about encouraging, people within the Black and Asian communities to swim. This was in 2019, and that's my journey. I met 3 young ladies. One of them is by the name of Alice Deering. She's the only Black swimmer in Team GB. She's the only Black swimmer who's ever represented England at the Olympics. last year. No, 2021. And so, and there's Seren Jones. Seren is she used to be a journalist for BBC, and she used to be an elite swimmer. And Daniel Obey. So we met. None of us knew each other, so we met through my campaign, and I found out that everybody, they were both, all three of them were doing something as well to do with encouraging people within the community to swim. So we said, so why don't we do something together? Why don't we, instead of us working individually, why don't we put our resources together and encourage more people to swim? So we went to the national governing bodies. I'm not going to mention any names. Went to the national governing bodies and said, this is what we want to do. Can you work with us? And they said, yes, we want to work with you. We've been trying to get through to the community, but we've struggled. So basically, let's do something together. And so we said, okay, can we speak to your diversity and inclusion department? This was in 2019, end of 2019. Can we speak to your diversity and inclusion department so that we can, work? And they were like, we don't have one. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's where the problem is. So when policies are being put together, when programs are being designed at that top level, there's no representation for Blacks and Asians, and that's why there's an issue. And I haven't mentioned it in the conversation. 95% of Black adults in England do not swim. 93% of Asian adults in England do not swim. 78% of Asian children in England do not swim, and 80% of Black children in England do not swim. These are figures by Sports England. We have the highest drowning rates. And so basically, you can see where there's an issue. So as a result, we said, okay, we need to do something. So we put together the organization called the Black Swimming Association, which is the first organization set up anywhere to highlight the importance of water safety and drowning prevention within the Black and Asian communities. So we co-founded that, and we launched it on the 2nd of March 2020, right in the middle of, right in the beginning of the pandemic. And the organization was set up to be that bridge between the swim sector, which is struggling to get to the community because they don't know how to, and the community that's disengaged from swimming. So basically, we are that bridge between the two. And what we've been doing is we've been working with the swim sectors, Speedo, RNLI, Sports England, all these organizations. We're working with them to reduce reduce drowning and then to increase inclusion, diversity inclusion within aquatics as a whole. So there's a lot, we've done a lot, there's a lot happening, there's a lot been doing a lot since 2020, but we've still got a long way to go. And here we are.
Wow. And to think that you've missed out so much, my gosh.
Yeah, but this is the compressed version.
Yeah, which I totally understand. And I ain't going to even I might ask the odd thing, but I don't even want to price stuff that's potentially
ask away.
In the book and
ask
that.
Away.
And the show's called Real Talk, and Shelley will know I'll say stuff, and it is what it is, right? It is what it is. I currently cannot swim.
I'm sorry to say you're not special.
I know that. I know, but
you're not special. You're 95% of it, which is horrible, isn't it? 95%.
Are there more women than men?
No, we don't know. The hair.
Yeah.
The hair.
Yeah.
The hair is a big issue. There's a number of and a lot of people ask me, and I go, and it's all in the film documentary, because the film documentaries are the films are made out of two halves. It's got a drama part of it, and the documentary part of it, which is people talking about their lived experiences. So it's both, and hair always comes up in conversation, and people think, and people have said, "But that's trivial." I say, "No, it's not."
Not in. I remember back in the day, and you know, it was a school trip and all the rest of it and that, and you had your cap, but you normally had, you see these headphones that I've got on, you normally got your little bunches either there at the top or at the back or what have you, and then you've got your swimming cap on, but the water's gone under that swimming cap, and so that you come out now and your hair sort of like might have been just touching your shoulders there. Come the time you finish swimming now, that's right up here. That shrunk.
Yeah.
That shrunk.
Yeah.
And then your mum is like, why you never put, I put the cap on, mum. I put the cap on. But it's not, you know, because the chemicals and all the rest of that and our hair did not.
Yeah.
So this is just me, I don't know if you've got people out there that are watching and what have you, and that was one of the reasons. But anyway, so I'm there, and you know how it is. I think the first one is, what do you do first? Is it your red you do first, Shell? I think it's the red, isn't it? Red. So I did that, and I was like, yay! And I passed. And then it was time after whatever and that. And then I think the next one was the blue one you go for. So anyway, so I was going for the blue one, and then I don't know, for some reason I kind of panicked. And so I was kind of like going under. And because I'm the same buffoon that I am now, everyone's like going, oh, you're so funny. I'm literally kind of like going under. And they're like, oh, no. And then when they realised I wasn't mucking about and they came in, trauma kicked in. And you're thinking like, don't be extra. I'm telling you. Trauma kicked in. And it's like, no. Scared, proper scared. And then I think I'd had Jordan by this time now. So I think I was probably in my 30s, and I went back and I was like, nah, I want to swim. And I was taking lessons and stuff. And what I should have done was keep it up. And I didn't.
Yeah, I think you need to go back to it. And I'm gonna personally make sure you go back to it, Dee. But because it's very, very important, you know, from not only from a life skill, but also from a physical health, mental health, and all that kind of thing. I'm like I said, I've only just learned how to swim. I'm still learning, and but it's so important. But it's a big issue. There's so many issues. Hair is only just one of them. Another one and is role models, and Michael touched on it. Role models is, because you don't see people that look like us swimming on a regular basis. And I had a conversation with my nephew, my 12-year-old nephew, and he was like, he's only just now started learning how to swim, and he didn't want to do it. And he actually told his dad, he said it to that was my younger brother, that, oh, Dad, can you write me a message? Can you write me a note so that to my teacher, so that I don't have to do swimming? And my brother goes, no, you have to do it. You have to look what your uncle's doing. Your uncle is, what he's been doing for all these years. You can't not do it. And so I had a conversation with him. I said, why? He goes, oh, what, swimming is not out. It's not for us. And I go, what do you mean it's not for us? He goes, it's not for people like us. Yeah. And I go, okay, what about football? He goes, oh yeah, football's out. Football is definitely, then he could mention every single, footballer in his football team, every people that look like him and all that kind of thing. But with swimming, not a single person. Look, on our national swim team, all right, I promise you, there's only one black swimmer, Alice Deering, and so it's one of those things whereby if you can't see it, you can't be it, and that kind of thing. So it's a big issue. There's a big issue from a role model point of view, and there's so many barriers. There's so many barriers, and
I know, sort of like we're talking about. I'm talking about. So in the Caribbean now, I don't think, I could be wrong, that there is that same issue.
In the Caribbean?
Yeah.
There is. You see, a lot of people say to me, "Oh no, you can't say black people." And okay, first and foremost, when I say blacks can't swim, right? And when I first decided to call the film "Blacks Can't Swim," I had a lot of people come to me and say, "Please don't." By doing that, you're adding to the stereotype. You're adding to the stigma. You can't say that.
Yeah.
And I said, and I thought about it. I thought about it for a whole 2 seconds, and I said, I am going to call it Blacks Can't Swim, because I'm talking about my personal journey.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the stigmas, the myths that held me back from swimming. I believed I couldn't swim. I had all the stereotypes that, oh, Black people have heavy bones, Black people, you know, and that kind of thing. So I can't swim. Black people can't float, and all that kind of thing. So basically, that's why I'm calling the film Blacks Can't Swim. And that was the best thing I did, because what the film has done now, what Blacks Can't Swim has done now, is created that safe space for everyone, regardless of ethnicity, to be able to have that conversation. And I've had people call me I had the head of water safety in New York call me, and she's a white lady. She goes, Ed, thank you. And I go, what for? She goes, because of what you have done by creating that safe space with the name Blacks Can't Swim, I can now have conversations which previously were very uncomfortable for me to have. But now I can comfortably have those conversations. And it's only by having these conversations are we going to be able to make a change, you know. So going back to in the Caribbean, Ghana, a lot of people say, oh, everybody swims in Ghana, everybody swims in the Caribbean. When I go on holiday, I see everybody swimming. I said, oh, so what you do is you go by the sea, you go by the beach, and you see people swimming. Go inland and see how many people swim inland. Next to none. And let's go, they probably have a swimming pool. Oh, even that, I'll correct that. There's a lot of people in Ghana, because I'm from Ghana, so I can say it, and I've seen it. They have swimming pools as a status thing, but they can't swim. And it happens, and there's accidents all the time. You know, they have the swimming pool, the water's out there, but more importantly, it's not just about swimming. It's about the water safety. Not understand. I'd rather somebody not know how to swim, but understand what to do in water safety. Know their water safety, when to get into water, and if they fall into water, what they need to do. Mm-hmm. And I think that is even more important than actually learning how to swim. Know your water. I can't believe I'm saying this live, but knowing your water safety, because that's what's going to save your life. You know, so it's very obviously you have to learn how to swim, but important thing is knowing how to deal with it. You know, water safe, be water confident, and that kind of thing. I can talk forever on this subject.
I fully stand by when you say about water safety. I've gone through guiding and scouting, so we do canoeing a lot, and my dad was a sea fisherman, as in rather avid. No, he didn't do it for living. He was an avid.
I'll be back.
Rather avid kind of sea fisherman, went out once a month, but they retired down to Weymouth so he could go out more. But to have knowledge of what to do in those situations and to know your own depth, literally your own depth, or what to do and not to panic. Because if you are down by the sea in the UK and you get yourself into trouble, it's volunteers that are coming out and helping you. It's those lifesavers, the RNLI. They're all volunteers that they have to come out of their work, leave their businesses to come and pick you up. So that really did hit me.
It's important to know, and things like, you know, if one thing and it's not until I started all this did I realize that if somebody falls into water, you're not supposed to just go on jumping and try and save them.
No,
to me that would be the most logical thing to do. You know, if you see somebody fall in water, you just jump in. But no, if you're by the coast, you call 999 and ask for the Coast Guard, and if you're inland, you call 999 and ask for the fire brigade. I didn't know that.
Yes.
You know, and it's these things that we know. And if you see somebody falling, while you just throw something buoyant so that they can hold on to it, or that kind of. I didn't know. And and one of my favorites is that only swim on a lifeguarded beach. If you're going to a beach, make sure it's lifeguarded, because if you're and don't go swim on your own. Make sure you're going with something. So there's these water safety things that people should know about. And I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't.
Yeah. Deeply respect the sea, because the tides and things can change when you think, oh, everything looks all perfect, and it's not. It's not. It can change within a second, and you could be the strongest person swimming or not be able to swim at all, and you don't know how you're going to panic. I mean, yeah, it is, as you say, sort of inland and things. I mean, the different things that we used to learn, like if you've got a waterproof jacket on, get air into it, tie it up, throw it to the person. That can give them enough buoyancy for them to be able to kick or to relax or to move over to one side. Because if you're going to jump in, chances are that you're putting yourself in more danger, because the person will come to you and hold on to you and stop you. Stop you from being able to doing anything. Unfortunately, if you was one of my scouts or one of my guides, if I was in a canoe and you came over to me and was panicking, we had to tell you to stop, and we could actually slap your arms away, because you're going to pull me in and it's going to be 10 times worse. So you had to kind of, no, we do it my way. Don't panic, just relax and then get on with it. Yeah.
And so hearing all what we've spoken about right now, right? And I always say this, that my mother is a very, very big advocate for water safety. She's the biggest advocate for water safety. Her idea of water safety is stay away from the water. You will not drown.
Perfect.
And seriously, that's how she brought us up. Stay, if you don't go near water, then you won't drown. But so it's like, you see the logic behind it. But obviously now we're living in a world whereby we go on holidays, we go here, we go there. So you have to, you can't not be, you can't be a million miles away from water at any given time. You have to be able to know how to deal with water when you're in that situation. And but there's so much to talk about, and there's so much for us to do. But hopefully we're having a conversation which is moving, let's have the conversation and then take it to the next step, which is actually doing it, learning how to swim.
Okay. So many things. I've got, sorry, I was speaking to somebody who's coming on the show and he was just checking a few things. So I've just made sure he's okay. Trish has messaged me because she's not seen a message and wanting to know, have we seen it?
It's quite large.
So I'm going to read. It's chopped off Ed, but don't you worry, guys. So Ed.
I'm here.
When she said just joined, I'm
here.
It's like being in the pool, actually, isn't it? And trying to keep your head above water. As she said, and at my school, the children start going to swim in lessons in year 4, 5. So that's 8 to 9. I went as a supervisor at the side of the pool, that is, and I've got to say I'm proud when I see the Black and Asian children who can swim, and it brings back memories of my school days when all the Black children were in the non-swimmer group. I went for lessons about 22 years ago, but didn't keep it up. Similar to what I said, wasn't it? The teacher said it is a tragedy that I'm not a swimmer. It's fear for me.
Good, yeah, Patricia. That's good. That's great. I love what you just said. But Patricia, you're gonna have to get into the water again. I'm gonna find you and make sure you do.
And we might, Ed. So if there is sort of like, I don't know, what's the word? I don't know, the drive that you're doing and you're working, you said alongside whatever the organisation was. I mean, is there kind of, because money can be a factor also as well. So say, for instance, not all schools actually do swimming lessons anymore.
So, okay. So the issue with schools, so swimming is part of the curriculum. And I think all children should get, I think it's 25 lessons, 25 hours throughout the whole duration of primary school or something or the other. But when you tend to find out that the reason why, okay, so I did some research, and basically it states that the curriculum states that there's 3 criterias. Every child, by the time they leave year 6, they should be able to swim 25 meters unaided. They should be able to perform a safe self rescue, and they should be able to perform and swim, I think, 2 different strokes. And the national average of children that can do this by the time they leave year 6 is 70%. So only 70% of children are able to achieve this by the time they finish school, primary school. But when you go into the ethnic minority, the heavily populated ethnic minority areas, or areas with low socioeconomic background, it goes down from 70 to 42%. So yeah. So I went and I spoke to a number of schools to try and this is not under the Black Swimming Association. This is just my personal research, and to understand why kids, if swimming is it's part of the curriculum, why kids are leaving school not knowing how to swim. Then this is what I found out. So most schools do not have a pool. So let's say you have an hour lesson. You're going to put the kids, 30 kids, on a coach.
Yep.
You're going to drive down to the leisure center. Kids are messing around as they do. They get changed and all that kind of thing. So by the time you get them into the water, you've only got about 20, 30 minutes. 20 minutes probably, to do whatever you want to do, to teach them and all that kind of thing. So what they'll do is they'll look at the kids. Those that have an ability to swim are not scared of the water. They'll get into the water and they'll do this stuff. And those that are scared, they'll put them on the sides, blow bubbles, put a ring around them, and they will sit there. And you tend to find that those that can get into the water and do something, swim, are those that parents take them swimming lessons outside of the education system. So it goes full circle. So if your parents are like my parents, then I'll be that kid.
Yeah.
So I will have lessons throughout my education. I'll have lessons. So when I'll have the opportunity to learn to swim, but I couldn't learn anything because
it's not.
So I did have this. It's not. It wasn't equitable. So I had I had the opportunity, but and that's the big issue. So we need to change that.
So what we go and do, Ed? What we go and do? What we go and do?
It's gonna be. It has to be both the parents, us as parents, and the governing bodies, and the aquatic sector working hand in hand. One cannot do it without the others because there's a cost element to it.
Yeah,
because pools are closing down. Many of the pools are closing, so which is making it much more expensive to go swimming. So the government has to step in and but also the government can lay down the pools and make every pool free. If us as a community we don't see it as a priority, then what's the point? Of
course.
So it has to be all of us working together, understand it as understand it as a priority, and go for it.
Wow. I'm so glad you came on today, Ed. I'm so glad you came on. I don't know if Michael mentioned to you, he probably didn't, not to scare you off, because once you're in, Shelley, can you confirm what happens once he's in?
Oh dear.
Game over. Game over.
Like Velcro.
There's no escape now, Ed. There is no escape. We very much... at Simply Deez, I kind of sent you the newsletter that's just got so much information in there about what we do, all our social media pages. So, when you've got time, you'll get a little flavour of. And the show that's today, this show is the first Tuesday of every month.
Okay.
Used to be, prior to COVID, used to actually physically go into a studio, and my guests would have to come into the studio.
Oh, that's amazing.
If you didn't come into the studio, then you weren't a guest. No, literally, the guests had to come into the studio, which they did, and it was all great, and it was excellent. All the rest of it. Then COVID hit, and then it was a case of I can't not do the show. So this is how we've been doing the show, streaming it, Facebook, YouTube. Now, so it's out there, and people, some are watching now, some will watch later on in the week, some will watch in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then be asking you questions still. And you're thinking, are you only watching it now? But people still, because obviously it's out there, and people will watch whenever that might be. So that's why when you hear us saying share, because what's said today might not be for you, but I bet your friend will say, "Oh, I wish I'd have known. I wish. So that's why we tell people to share all the time. Now, what you've come on and shared with us today is massive. And actually, I'm kind of one of those. Everyone can see my hands. And I know Trisha said also as well. And it's something that I'm going like, right, I need to start again. And I've got the grandkids, and I want to do, they do stuff like that anyway, but I want to go. Do you know what I mean? I want to go. I don't want to go and just sit by the side and just watch them. And all the rest of it and that. So I'm going to make sure, Trish, you better still be watching. And we do something and take that forward, and not just talk about it. We take that forward and continue. So I want to know, Ed, obviously there's a film. Is the film something that we can watch on, I don't know, where can we watch it? Where can we get access?
The film's on Amazon, Blacks Can't Swim. If you go on Amazon films, all three of them are on Amazon. It's also on Sky Store. So if you got Sky, you can rent it or buy it on Sky Store. And if you want any further information, just go to blackscan'tswim.com. Follow me on Twitter.
No, you were. You're going to say like, my God, then you'll be saying to Michael, my gosh, when I went on, I didn't realise they were going to start stalking me, man. Jeez.
That's what I'm here for. Yeah. So
trust me, that is what is going to, well, not stop, but I mean, as in like happen. We will certainly. Shelley does all the social media and everything like that. So all what you've shared, you can see, obviously, it's on the bottom of the screen. We'll be sharing that information, and I know people will be coming back and asking us stuff. Now, did you say that there's a book? Yes.
So you saw when you asked me about the journey, and I had to start from the beginning, and I went all the way from when I was young and all the way up until I co-founded the organization and the films and everything. I said to myself, wouldn't it be great if I did a book and had all this in there, so that if anybody asks me the journey, I say, why didn't you just get the book? It's all in there. So I published a book, and basically what I did it a little different. It's a visual journey. So the book is called A Visual Journey of Blacks Can't Swim, and it's made out of pictures, unseen footage, and unpublished podcasts, and everything from the beginning, from the co-founding of the Black Swimming Association. It's got texts, it's got emails, it's got stories, it's got conversations with the aquatic sector, and all in a visual form and text as well, from the very beginning to up until the end of last year. So it's got the whole story, the whole journey, the ups, the downs, everything in there. I've even got the text from that, with my co-founders that got us together, and it's everything's in there. So so that's the visual journey of Blacks Can't Swim. It's on Amazon, but if you go onto blackscan'tswim.com, it's on there at a discounted rate, and you can get a signed copy as well. Where do you live? I live in Buckinghamshire. I live
down the road.
Yeah, I live in Buckinghamshire. I used to live in Luton. I bought my first property in Luton, and because I grew up in Tottenham. My mum still lives in Tottenham.
Okay.
I couldn't. This was in the late 90s. I couldn't afford a place. I think 1999 actually. I couldn't afford a place in London, and someone told me about Luton. So I moved to Leagrave. I bought a place in Leagrave.
Where do I live, Ed? Where do I live?
Where you, Luton?
No, where did you say? Leagrave.
Leagrave. Leagrave, Roman Road on Leagrave.
I
So
know.
yeah. So I lived there for 3-4 years,
Okay.
until I my wife got married, and she's from Harrow, so we said, well, we'll meet somewhere. So I moved to my place, and we met, and I moved to Watford. So yeah, so I love Luton, Dunstable, and yeah, it's a great place.
So a date for your diary, Ed.
Yeah.
Saturday the 3rd of June.
Saturday the 3rd of June.
Don't make out you're busy.
No. Listen. I'll tell you what, I'm always busy, but never too busy for you.
Did you hear that, Shell? I'll tell you what, when we watch this back on replay, it'll be so funny. Yeah, Saturday the 3rd. Shell, I don't know if it's possible. You know the video clip for that, you know, I keep sharing all the time, that we've got from the Black Book case. So, because our next guests aren't on for another like 10 minutes. So on the 3rd of June, Ed, we have got an event.
Okay.
This is Simply Deez, and it's called the Black Book Case.
Okay.
It's Luton African Books, Art and Craft Fest 2023. So I don't know, Shelley will tell you. I don't want her to tell you now because otherwise it'll put you off. But these things just come into my brain, and then I've got to get them out. You can't keep them in. You've got to get them out, right? And so I got this out, and we thought, let's try a little thing, a little ting, as I say. And it went so well, so well. So we had 42 exhibitors. 24 of those were authors.
Mm-hmm.
3 were booksellers. We had 4 publishers. And we had, it was African fashion, it was arts, it was crafts, we had African drumming. So all those that participated, as in whether they were performing or exhibiting, had to be of African Caribbean heritage. Full stop. Anybody could attend, but those actually, as in terms of participating, had to be, because there's so many things that people hear but don't believe until they see. When I said we had 24 authors, I was getting told, you ain't got no 24 black authors. There isn't. You think I'm joking. There isn't 24 black authors, I was being told. So they thought I was just inflating it just to get people. And obviously there was that, and there was more, and all the rest of it. Then we hit COVID 2020. So this time around, we're looking at 70 plus exhibitors. So we would, on air, live, not putting you on the spot, Ed, because that's not my style. Not my style. Shell's going, yeah, it is. 3rd June, we would love to have you there.
So I would check the diary as soon as I come offline. And
yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want you to say. Yeah, you need to sort of like do that. But
I need to check the diary, yeah, and make sure.
Yeah.
Then
the event is kind of like 12 till 6, so we've got performances, spoken, just a whole load of stuff that goes on, and very much everything that we do, and you'll see, is very much about bringing, when I say us, as in the community together, but the young and the old. So you'll get maybe a funeral, a christening, or a wedding. You get the young and the old, and they mix very. Otherwise, it's the young do their thing, the oldest do their thing. But it's great when you get that amalgamation of both.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because they've got something to bring to the table, and we need to understand that that they have got things to offer. So there's even a young people's hour where we have sort of like I don't know how young they're going to be this year, but sort of like 8-9-year-olds that are authors.
Okay.
So when you sort of say to others, it's like, well, when you come and you actually see young people that have got their own businesses at 9, lemonade business, or that they're doing whatever it might be, that just encourages your child. Oh, I like mum, or I like this dad. And then that way, then somebody else is doing it. It's like, well, do you know what? It is possible. We don't have to wait till we get to a certain age to be doing certain things. And let's encourage and support the young. And yeah, I could go on. I could go on. So Shelley has just put the clip in the. Can you play it, Shell? Oh, Ed, I need you to see just a little bit, to just give you a little. I need you to get a little bit of the flavouring of this event, because you're listening to me, you're thinking, okay. But the guy that we had come and video, he sort of like just compiled a little bit of it for me, just to give people a little flavour. And hopefully, I think if Shelley can do this, it will give you just a little flavour of what went down on that day. So let's see if this is going to work. My name's Dee Bailey, Simply Deez Events. Real talk is Simply Deez. Today, the event was called the Black Bookcase, Luton African Books Art and Craft Fest 2019. To be part of today, as in exhibiting or performing, you needed to be of African Caribbean heritage. 25 authors, 4 publishers, 3 booksellers.
Today I'm here at the African Book and Craft Fair to promote my new book, which is called My Sole Purpose. And my sole purpose is really about inspiring and empowering people to continue on their path towards their true life purpose.
Our purpose here today was to introduce people to their origins, who they are, their soul, their spirit, the things that we've lost over the years. A lot of people here cover that, is to get the information out there, but on a spiritual, mental, and factual level. The level that we cover, many people don't, because it touches on uncomfortable truths. And a lot of people have to deal with their inner selves and how to rectify what has been broken inside of them.
It's very important that we come out and support ourselves in the community. There's 25 black book publishers today. Myself and Hanifa Mohammed both having our book launch. So the book, The Rise of Rastafari, was really about explaining what the Rastafari movement is. So a lot of people have misconceptions or follow the stereotypes and they don't fully understand. So this breaks down what Rastafari is and what the movement is about.
I'm an author. I've written a book called Black Children in Care, Health, Hair and Skin. My journey is as a social worker, needing support black children whilst they're in care, being fostered by white foster carers. They need more support.
I work with the celebrity chef, Jean-Christophe Novelli, and I teach African fusion food in his cookery school, in his home. Okay? I share plantain, I share yam, I share cassava. I tell him what it's all about.
From an age so young, I can't even remember the first time that stick full of toxins touched and ruined you. I was taught straight, soft hair was the only style of beauty. So with my relaxer and straighteners, I continue to destroy you. One day I was just led to picking up a notepad and a pen, and I just poured my heart out. I spoke about my feelings, my emotions. I wrote to empower myself. And fast forward to today, I collated all the pages that I had written into this book called Walk with Wings. Thank you.
And I always said from 4 years old, I am going to be an author. It wasn't even a question. So I want you to go back to that age of being a young person, that innocent child. What was it that you wanted to do? What was that dream? For me, it was being an author.
I'm here at the event today. I've got a store back there selling the book series that I've just put out there called The Path To. I'm here at this event really because it is a black event and there are so many more students out there that I can actually help. So for me to get to speak to the parents, get to connect with the community is really, really important to give our students a much better start when it comes to their GCSEs and when it comes to them being out there in the wider world and their careers. My company is Peaches Publication. We help authors to tell their stories, write their books, and we put it on the page. We have a workbook, which we do that by, and it's been so inspiring.
It's nice to just come together and see the abundance of positive businesses and people that are here today. This was a vital event in order to promote Black books, Black authors and publishers for the society at large. Well done, Dee, and I'm looking forward to next year.
I think it's a great event. It's fantastic to be amongst inspiring and wonderful authors.
If you don't know who I am, Dee Bailey on Facebook and social media. Real Talk is Simply Deez, the show, which is the first Tuesday of every month on Camtango Radio, and you can catch me. And this is all very much about the young people.
Amazing. Amazing.
That played so well, Shell, didn't it? It played, you know, I wondered whether it sort of like, it played so well. Yeah, it's a wicked clip, isn't it, Ed?
Oh, yes, amazing, amazing.
It always makes me laugh because I know when Dee's going to start dancing, and then at the end, it's the finger, it's the school finger.
Yeah, and that was at the end when he done that clip with me. And can you imagine after all of that, and at the very end of the day, and it was like, yeah, wow. So that was only, I think there was 42 exhibitors, and we're looking at 70 plus this time round. So that's why Shelley's shaking her head, Ed. She's thinking like, oh my giddy aunt. So that is the event. Currently in the process of getting sponsors, exhibitors, performers. There's some people that we've already got. Yeah, so I was just reading some of the messages that come through that we've already got. But yes, so yes, throw that out there to you, Ed. We'll catch up anyway.
Yeah.
Ed, before you go, because you didn't think you'd be on this long, did you? Now, be fair. You didn't think you'd be on this long. You're thinking like, right, I'll give her about 10 minutes, and then do you know what? She won't be able to get more out of me. Oh yes.
I could listen. I could out-talk you. You know that I could be here for 3, 4, 5 hours. I have so much to talk about.
Well, normally Shelley's like going like she's messaging me. It's like it's gone 10 o'clock. The show's supposed to be 7 till 10. She's and when we used to be in the studio, that come 11 o'clock. I think that might have been the latest. She was like, "We've been here since like before 7. The show's supposed to finish at 10. Why are you still on?" It's like, because people have got things to share. But yeah, no problem. Ed, you'll definitely be back. We'll definitely get you back on the show because there's so many comments. Trisha said, because I threw it out there, and she said, like, yes, we need to start taking lessons. So I will update you.
Please do. Please do.
No, seriously, yeah. We've put it out there. So yeah, knowing us, we'll get a little posse. And yeah, may even start some. Oh, Shell, you can see it, can't you? Might even start a little Simply Deez, a little swimming.
Yeah, I just knew that's the little thing that was coming out of the brain.
And the great thing is that everybody has a swim story. So let's just keep on talking. Anybody, when you speak to somebody, ask them their swim story. One thing I want to say: every human being out there has a swim story. Whether they can swim, if they can swim, how did they start? And if they can't swim, what stopped them? Everyone's got a story. Let's start talking about it. Let's have the conversation.
Oh, most definitely. It's been a total pleasure, Ed. Seriously, a total
Likewise.
pleasure
Really enjoyed it.
having you on. And yeah, there's some other things that I've already sort of like in my little, Shelley's going, oh gosh, in my little calculated mind, I'm thinking where we can help and support you also as well, Ed, because yeah, sometimes, as you know, it's not what you know, sometimes it's who, right?
Definitely. I know we can work together. It's I was going to say it's a shame we didn't know each other earlier, but we know now. So let's move. Let's
Everything
so much we can do now.
when the time's right, and then,
And then, the time is now. The time is right.
Yeah, definitely, because yeah, definitely. So if that's a case of getting into, and if that's something that we can do in Luton,
yeah,
you know, and sort of like be sort of like pushing that the way you want it to go, and maybe if that's schools or however, if it's something that we can sort of support, as in like getting into, to maybe, I don't know whether there's I don't know, whatever it might be, to push that. And as I said, Trish, the lady that we're talking about, she's actually in school. She's a learning teaching assistant in the school already. So that is a door. That is already a door. So thank you for now. Is there anything else that you want to share now to kind of throw out there to people, to encourage people? Obviously all your social media information, we'll be doing that anyway, but what do you want to say to people as your last words for tonight? Because there's going to be a part 2, part 3, part 4 with Ed, guys, just in case you wondered.
Yeah, I just want to thank people, just thank people for, for listening, and let's just keep the conversation going. That's the most important thing. Let's have that conversation. If you know somebody who can't swim, ask them why. And let's share our stories, and we know the importance about it. We know it's a life skill. We know the benefits of it and all that kind of thing. But it's something that we need to do. And I really want to get rid of that stigma that blacks can't swim. I want it to go. I want it to go.
So you have to change the title of your film, because actually that was then, and now yes they can.
They can, yeah. And the things that, yeah. So let's just keep the conversation going. Like I said, I'm on the socials, and I'm always posting stuff, inspirational stuff. It's as much as it's an issue. There's inspirational stuff out there. There's people that have learned how to swim. There's people, and the more we can see people doing it, people that look like doing it, the more we want to do it. We need those role models.
Yes,
those role models. And in one of my last film, one of the persons being interviewed said, if one of the these premier footballers decided to come out and say I swim, it will change a lot of things, because a lot of youth will say, wow, there's a role model. And that's what we try to get people to come and talk about their personal journeys and things like that. So that's where we get more people to talk about it from all walks of life, so that the youth, everyone can see that
it's more than norm.
It's not a white. Because the guy that did an article, based on swimming being a white middle class activity.
I don't know.
Yeah. Am I still there?
Oh, you're still there.
Yes. So a white, what do you call it? Activity, but it's not. It's something for everyone. So let's just continue having this conversation.
No problem, Ed. You're a star. Thank you so much for taking time out tonight, and we'll definitely be in touch. 3rd of June, don't you worry. I'll remind you. I will remind you. If we need to send somebody to Buckingham to get you, so be it.
As long as I'm available in this country, I'll be there. I'm all over the place. But I want to be there, because I saw it and I saw and I'm pretty sure there was some food. There was some good food there.
The food, we've actually got a food court. We actually had a food court area as well. So there's food. There's loads.
Cool. Thank you very much, William. Thank you very much, Shelley. I really enjoyed it.
Ed. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, wow. Absolutely amazing. Amazing. Do you know what? I've seen stuff, and obviously Michael, known Michael for however long, and see the things that kick off at 3 and been posting that. That's been from, as he sort of said, back 2018, and seeing that. So we're going to talk more about that. Actually, and with Trish and whoever else. Trish, I know you're online. You need to do your little research, love. I can't do everything. Do some research, and I know I go to Lima and find out where we can go.
Yeah, there is
Start our
ladies
classes.
only swimming out there in
Oh
different.
yeah, I
places.
think they do at Lee Manor as well. Yeah. So there you go, Trish. There's your job for tonight. Right, have we got our next guests waiting in the wings?
Yes.
Have we got Omar?
Omar, yeah.
Omar, is it just Omar?
And Saj.
Oh, she's sorry. You remember? Do you remember Sajida?
Yeah. Put the both on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Omar hasn't got the screen on yet. There you go.
Hi. Oh my gosh. I feel I should be curtsying Omar.
No.
I
First
don't need
and
to
foremost,
curtsy.
good evening. Good evening. Good
Studio.
evening.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings.
Greetings.
Omar, Saj. Oh my gosh, everyone. Let me just say to you before I go further. Saj, I'm trying to think. Jordan's like 30, going on 31. I've known this lady at least 27 years.
Yeah,
I reckon.
very true, Dee.
At least 27 years. And Shell, I don't know if you remember, this is an NTL.
Yes.
God, back in the day. Back in the days. So I've known this young lady an extremely long time. And if I'm honest with you, Omar, if it wasn't for you, she would be on the show. She's never been on a show before. Never. No.
Oh, Dee.
Huh?
I thought I was going to come to the studio. I've got actually a cold, so it's a good job that I'm on the.
No, we're not in the studio anymore. I've not been in the studio since COVID.
Oh. I've got a really bad cough. So
well, that's good.
Cough, Omar's going to take over.
Really?
Don't you worry. Don't you worry. So welcome. Thank you. Have you been listening in at all, you two?
Yeah, I've been listening.
Yes, yeah.
It's kind of
stream story,
isn't it? I don't know how long you've been listening in for, but my very first guest today was a gentleman called Michael Wallace.
Yeah.
And Michael, if you're still listening, but he is a serving police officer.
Nice.
He's a serving police officer. So as well as that, outside, he runs an organisation called Kick Off at 3. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
No.
Kick Off at 3. And they predominantly it's football, but there's other sporting activities they do, but very much sort of like the young people and getting them together. And so whereas they kind of like, there might be a bit of he's getting them together, work together, and then obviously having that relationship with the police, which is a positive, and a load of other stuff. So yes, he was on. And now we've got you two. So welcome, Saj and Omar. Yay!
Yeah.
At last. This has been a long time in the making, people. Let me tell you that now. These two have blown me out so many times. I shouldn't really have them on the show today. I shouldn't really.
It was fun.
I should. I'm only kidding. So welcome, both of you. Welcome. I don't know who is going to kind of like start off. Everyone's out there because we're nearly on the 1 million marker, by the way, just letting you know, viewers, because remember we're live on YouTube as well as Facebook. You didn't think we had so many viewers, did you, Saj? So, Omar, we'll start with you. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about you? Because I like to know a little bit about who I've got, and then sort of like go into sort of like, the I Hope Foundation, what you guys do, and how we can support.
No problem. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to everyone that's listening. They're also looking, viewing. A little bit about me. Well, okay. It's my big 40th this year, so it's a big year for me. So it's going to be.
Are we invited? That's what we need to know. Whoa.
Well, it depends how we end the podcast this evening.
I was just going to say, because that depending on what your answer is, Omar, whether we continue.
Okay,
we might just have to finish it now. I'm only kidding.
No, that's fine. Okay, a little bit about me. I was born in France, in the suburbs of Paris, the north of Paris. I was there. I was born and raised in this rough suburbs of north of Paris until I was about 15. My mum decided to take us out and bring us to the UK, where all her family was living. So we arrived in East London and settled in Ilford, and ever since we've been here. And then I went to school here, started working, eventually got married. I've got 2 young kids now. Well, one's 16 and one's 6.
That's not so young, really.
I know, it's not so young, yeah. You're supposed to say I look young enough. I shouldn't have a 16-year-old. That's when you're supposed to come in and say I shouldn't be having a 16-year-old. I look so young. Come on, Dee.
No, Omar, no.
No, thank you. All right.
That's all right. Did Saj not warn you about me beforehand?
No, she did, but I took it with a pinch of salt. But yeah, that's about it. And I met Saj in 2007. And literally, she's my best friend. She's like my sister, and we got on like a house on fire. And the rest is history, really. And everything happened after that year, really, in relation to the charity, in relation to where we went and how we got together in terms of working on various different projects. How she introduced me to her charity causes and her charity kind of pipeline of works, and then how I got involved. And then when we put our heads together, we thought, okay, it's time to do something. So that's a little bit about me and the foundation. I mean, we can go a little bit more detail about it, but so far, I'll give you that much. Is that enough, or you want more yet?
Yeah, no, that works. That works.
Okay, that works. Perfect.
So, how do you want to do this? Do you want to say something, Saj, or do you want to just start? Tell us about the foundation. Let me hear it from Saj.
Okay.
Sorry,
Saji.
A quick introduction about me, and then Omar can start.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, I'm a bit older than Omar, just to let you know. But I was born in Rotherham, grew up in Sheffield, and my dad brought us to Luton because he thought the job prospects were better. So I was sort of raised in Luton. I went to school at Chorney Girls, and then currently work for City London Police Officer for 18 years. Alongside Omar, you forget to mention that what he does at the moment. Supportive of what we do, just to put that out there as well. And on the side, obviously, we set up our own foundation. Thank you, Dee.
Fab.
Go on, Omar.
You just kind of condensed it. So let's hear about this awesome foundation.
Okay. I'll have to take you back, though, a little bit. So obviously, I met Saj in 2007. We, like I said, we got on straight away, and we started talking about all sorts of stuff. And I remember that Saj started to go out to Gambia back in 2010 and 9 and 10. She'd be able to kind of expand on that a little bit further. But I mean, she went to Gambia for a holiday. I mean, I'll let her explain what happened to her while she was there. But she went out there. She did a bit of the one in the first trip to Gambia. I'll let her explain that to you guys. How she chose Gambia, how she ended up there. Right. But do you wanna go ahead, Saji?
I might as well just explain it. So I went on Yasmin. I think Dee knows Yasmin as well. But we just went on holiday. We just wanted to break away. We went there, and when you go there, you can't really tell. But obviously, there was kids eating sand from the floor, etc. And honestly, I left all of my clothes. I came back empty-handed back to England. And we went to schools there, visited, because I read up before I went to Gambia, they said that you should go to visit schools, should take pens, pencils, stuff like that. So I did. I paid an excess of £100 at Gatwick Airport, to my delight. Got there, visited some schools, and then sort of fell in love with one school. And then obviously from there, I sort of used to put like £40 away from my wage every month just to save up. And then I used to go out once or twice a year and just help them renovate the school, put tables, chairs, water tap, and sort of then continue to help them, and then put some toilets in there, and wards. And I have had support from friends and family, and obviously the police force as well towards that my project. But I wasn't a registered charity at the time, so I had to be really careful with the money I was taking out there, and obviously accountable for everything, all the receipts and etc. But then came into light with Omar, told him what I was doing.
Yes, and I think that took about 6 years of her telling me, and, and something actually happening from there. To be fair, I was in awe of what Saj was doing. Just her on herself, saving a bit of money, taking wherever she could to go out there. Not a lot of people give time and effort and funding towards others, especially in this day and age where society is kind of changing in terms of becoming a more selfish society. And when I saw that, I was quite taken aback by her amount of kind of servitude, but also her amount of passion for that country and trying to make a difference, no matter how small it was. So eventually, 6 years later, she finally managed to kind of convince me. Well, she didn't really convince me. She just said, let's go together and let's go and explore Gambia. So I said, you know what, why not? Let's just do it. So we went on as a holiday stroke charity exploration. We went out there, and Saj had a couple of things to do in terms of installing a water tap, but also do a bit of school distribution in terms of stationery to her local school that she was helping. So we went out there, and to be fair, just like Saj, we fell in love with the country, the people, and we also kind of quickly realized that there was a lack of basic necessities, food, water, in various different kind of areas of Gambia. I'm just trying to get my bearing, East or West Africa, but it is West Africa. And then since in 2016, when we came back, and I said to Saj, you know what, Saj, we should do something more officially. We should get our heads together. Let's do something officially. Let's get recognized, and let's just push ourselves to do something on the side. As Saj mentioned, we both work full-time, so this is a hobby, but also a passion. I mean, I would call it a bit of both. And it's something that we wanted to do in an official kind of environment. So in 2017, we kind of, after putting a bit of effort trying to find out the best way to kind of set up a charity, we registered and organized the foundation. And since 2017, we've just been working on small but meaningful projects that we can do ourselves, and projects that we can actually deliver, but also can have an overlook on in terms of checking what is happening, how is it happening, and just having an understanding of what sort of impact it's also having on the people, rather than just disappearing after doing a bit of work and just say, oh, that's it, thank you very much, we're off now. We're trying to kind of remain, or trying to stay in contact and remain very closely with those that we kind of have helped over the years. I mean, just to give you an idea, since 2017, we've done, I was doing a bit of counting of the numbers today, but we've done 85 water projects across Gambia, and that's like water wells. Thank you. And that's like water wells, water taps. We've fed over probably, I would say, probably about 5,000 families with just food distribution since 2017. We worked on various different other projects. We created 4 water reservoir to help 50 women have access to agricultural land where they could kind of plant their own trees, so banana trees, papaya trees, very different other plants. We constructed a chicken farm. I know Sajula loves that one. Back in 2018, we constructed a chicken farm where we constructed the farm and then we supplied the chicks that were kind of almost poached by Senegal into Gambia, because they didn't have any kind of chicken in Gambia. So they had to get the chicks coming from Senegal. And then eventually the chicken farm opened, and they used the chicken in terms of the eggs and stuff like that to kind of develop funding for the community. We've done school support, stationery, distribution, and just general kind of services, just trying to help out anybody that may need our help. And that is, I mean, in a nutshell, that's the work we've done just on the side. I mean,
We're just saying in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I understand why you sort of said it like that, Omar, but as in terms of like in all the time that you're talking about and knowing Saj, and just constantly, it's like
she does live here, doesn't she? She does live
Yes,
in
I
the
do.
UK. I think she lives in the UK because she's always out there, and you know the little video clips and the little. So all the stuff that you're sort of saying, and I know you're kind of condensing it, but it's humongous what you guys have done, and I'm sure the people in Gambia are. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like just so grateful. How do you kind of how do you keep going? Because I know you know what you're doing is meaningful and it's appreciated and all the stuff that goes with that. But do you feel like kind of like, oh my gosh, if there's never enough?
But you know, my thing is that in 2023, if you say we've got water, we're quite privileged in this country, but around the world, people are not as privileged as we are. And obviously, we can't help the whole world, but what we can do is make a change in Gambia for people there. And that's how we look at it. We're a small charity, we're not a large charity. However, we know we're making a difference in Gambia. And you know, even now, even before we go, a lot of our people who sponsor our water taps, it's like in our religion, if somebody passes away or family members in Muslim families and non-Muslim families have sponsored our water taps, it's like every time someone drinks the water, it's a blessing. So people, we've got a list again. I only came back about a couple of weeks ago, and already we've got another list of people want us to donate water to Gambia and do water projects. So you know, we're ongoing, but it is when you see people out there and they've got smiles on their faces. They don't act as if, oh, we're quite deprived, because that's how they live. That's the way they live. They don't know any different. Obviously, social media now does give another insight, but years ago it wasn't. So they didn't really have that much social media access. But I think to see people give them just basic things such as water, which in this day and age people shouldn't be suffering for, but it happens, and people just need to be aware of it. It's a small project, but it makes a lot of difference for a community having a water tap, fresh, clean water.
Wow, she's practiced that speech, I'll tell you that.
No, I didn't. That is generally, Dee, you know me better. Honestly, that is just, I have not written a note down because I don't need to.
I know.
You know what I mean? And
it's just
that
for you.
is
How many
from the
times have
heart.
just to give people an indicator of what we're talking about? How many times have you been to Gambia, Sajida?
Oh my God, probably about over 30, 25 to 30 times. But it's all my own annual leave I use. So don't get on, you know what I mean? It's my own leave that I'm using to go out there. So is Omar and everybody else who's supported us throughout the years. Other people have gone from work out there with us, etc. So everybody uses their own leave to go out there. Yeah. A couple of times a year we go.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, we don't really go anywhere else now, so.
I guess it's quite important to say that, as you mentioned, Saj, everything that we do is in our own time. It's our own energy. We use our own, like Saj said, we use our own leave. We use our own funding. The other thing that is quite unique as well about us is we operate a 100% donation policy. So we don't use any of the funding that comes in towards our travel costs or accommodation costs. Everything that we do is 100%. So whatever costs we can cover by ourselves, or we're using kind of gift aid as an option to cover costs of running the charity, we'll use that. So far since 2017, we've never had to dip into actual charitable donation, which is quite unique in terms of our work, because we're a small charity, but we try our best to only take on what we can actually do, and we get kind of hands-on. I mean, Saj does a lot more than I do. I mean, I'm more of a logistic type of person, but Saj is more the kind of hands-on, on the ground, getting things done, which, to be fair, I don't think I could match her in any capacity. She's got it on the lock. She knows exactly what she's doing, how she's doing it. You just got to let her know, this is how much we've got, this is what we need to be done, and she'll get it done. So we work quite well. I mean, we've got various other people on the team, but obviously today there's only me and Saj, but we work very closely with one another, and we always kind of support. But also our friends, our family, people that have seen our work, you know, they just support us purely because they see what we do is there and then. And we don't we won't take your money just because you want to give us money. We only take your money if there is a project happening. So we've had in the past people come and say, look, I would like to give you some money, and we're like, well, we've got a project going on. I'm not going to hold on to your money. I don't need your funds in my pocket. When we do have projects, we will kind of advertise, and feel free to kind of get involved. So we try our best to kind of have that small, meaningful, impactful kind of projects that we can kind of then also come back and show our donors that, look, this is what we did with your money. Whether it's £1 you donated, or whether it's £5 or £100, this is what we do with it. And I think that goes a long way, and that it keeps us motivated as well, because then it shows us that actually people do care and want to make a difference. Because obviously in the charity world, people tend to want to give money, but they don't generally know what happens with their money. And what we're trying to do is the opposite. We try to showcase people like, look, your money went to this project, and this is what was achieved at the back of it, which then creates an increase of trust, but also an increase of wanting to get involved further in the charity sector, which is always good, because as I said, we're quite privileged here. We can just open a tap and water comes in. But when you actually go out there, and this is one advice I would give to anyone, I mean, you travel the world and you'll see for yourself what people go through. And that will kind of almost give you almost like a reality check in terms of what we have access to, what others haven't. And what we moan about on a daily basis, whether it's the slow kind of opening of my Facebook page, or do you know what I mean? Like, oh, it's taking too long to send a WhatsApp messages. But on the other hand, you've got, I don't know, 850 million people that haven't got access to water. And, you know, like, I don't know where I was reading an article where they were saying that if you've got a house, food, and access to water, you are kind of in the percentage of people that have got enough. Like in the world, like the majority of people don't even have that. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to kind of provide basic human necessities. Obviously, it's not a full-time role, so we can only do so much in our kind of part-time. But what we're trying to do in that short time is to ensure that whatever we're going to do, we're going to give 100%. And we all muck in. We all do whatever needs to be done. And we'll have, you know, long meetings and talk about various different aspects of stuff. But it's just about working with others. And it's about opening others' kind of views around charity and saying, look, actually, you know what? I want to get involved in whatever way. It doesn't always have to be about money. It's not always about funding. Sometimes it's just about...
It's a case of sometimes it's your time.
Exactly, absolutely. Time goes a long way.
Yes.
I was having this conversation with Saj, like, you know, somebody might I don't know, be like really savvy with technology, could come in and say to us that, you know what, I can help you develop, I don't know, a software or a form that will make it easier for you to record stuff like that. That goes a long way. And it's not just about taking your £100 or £50 or £10. Sometimes it's looking beyond that and saying, actually, just give me an hour a month, just to help me out.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
Well said, Omar.
Well done, guys. Sid, I take it Sid's a friend.
Sid has been on. Yes, Sid is a very close friend of ours. He's also been He's been out to our projects with us back in 2017. So 2017, Sid was with us. He's also been a big supporter of ours, and he's always kind of pushed the foundation to his friends and family, and he also contributed quite a lot towards our foundation. So we are very grateful to people like Sid, but also anybody else that potentially we have kind of shared paths, and even they helped us or supported us quietly, because some people don't give us their names and anonymously kind of provide support. And I'm really grateful for everyone really that kind of come and support us.
Yeah, and Imran's another person who's obviously works closely with us. He does a lot of our media. He's also been out there, but he obviously isn't on the show tonight with us. We won't get a word in edgewise, so we could jump.
I was just going to say, didn't stand a chance.
With a media person, you've got no chance.
So, as you can see, sort of like Shelley's got sort of like the foundation, your website scrolling across it. So, because we're beaming to the masses out there, you just don't know who is going to see this clip with you guys. So, what right now, you sort of said about the work you do and everything like that, but how can people get involved? How can people, or what do you need? How can we help you?
I would say, with us, is we small, so we personal. So if anybody reach out, we have that conversation. We're not the type that are gonna say, actually, you gotta wait 40 hours for a reply of an email. You gotta wait 7 days to get into someone's diary. We just want to be able to have. The thing is, we're learning as well. It's our journey as well. We are not experts in this field, and we don't mark ourselves as experts. We want to learn. We want to evolve. We want to grow, but we sometimes a lot more minds or a lot more heads in a room will make a lot bigger difference than always seeing the same thing. And people just reaching out and saying, look, I could potentially help you with whatever, or I would like to fund certain projects. Just have that conversation. Like me and Saj are always happy to sit down with people, whether it's over tea or coffee or virtually, and just see, look, how can you help us? But not only help us, be part of the journey. It's not mine. I don't own Gambia, or I don't own these places. Anybody can come in and say, you know what, I want to be part of it. And I will open our arms and say, you know what, come on board, come and help, be part of the journey, not just look out from the outside. See it yourself, be it yourself. You want to travel, come with us. Let's go and do it. But obviously with that comes a bit of sacrifice. With that, you have to give a little bit more than what you would do for anything else. And that's because that's the nature of not the business, but that's the nature of the work. And the other thing is, I would also say is what I found, and I don't know, I can't speak for Saj, but in the servitude of others is where you kind of find yourself, if I'm really honest, is when you kind of trying to help others. That people have nowadays so many mental health issues, and it's so sad. There's a lot of that happening in this day and age, in this society. And my answer today is, you know what, go and serve others, and you'll find yourself, really, because you'll actually realize that potentially what you're going through, you can potentially mirror that and say, actually, you know what, people have a lot worse than I. And that may open, whether it's your heart, your mind, or whatever it may be, and you think, actually, you know what, I can get satisfaction out of that. And yes, it's not we helping others, but don't get me wrong, we're helping ourselves. We also helping, but we're growing, we're evolving, we're trying to find ourselves as part of this whole journey. And like I said early on, we're not experts. We probably never will be experts in this field because it's a part-time thing. But whatever we want to do, we want to do at the best of our ability. We will make mistakes, don't get me wrong. We will make mistakes. There will be ups and downs, but this is where we learn from it. And the day I don't find that kind of fire in my belly about that work, I'll say to Sad, you know what, it's not us. It's the end. But I mean, I hope that never happens, and I don't think it will ever happen because of the type of work we do. But it's a kind of growing that, and I guess it's having people to come on board and say, look, let me be part of the journey, and I'll be like, yes, do it. Why not? It's not for me. Let's all do it together.
Wow.
And I echo that.
So are you standing as a candidate for Mayor of London? I don't know.
No, dude.
He needs to. It's a good
No.
speech, isn't it?
I'm not.
Yeah.
The thing, it's not a speech, but you know what it is?
You can tell it's a passion, Omar, honestly.
Yeah.
You can tell. And that's what, for me, when people sort of, because you get lots of people, you come across so many different people in walks of life. And when you've got somebody that the passion just oozes out, that's what will get people in. You guys
absolutely.
will.
And I've always said this, and I've always said this to Saj as well. And I said, look, we have never, although 99% of our work is about money, and we need money to do projects, because without money we can't do nothing. But we always had that conversation. We've always said that money has never been our number one priority. Not because we don't need it. It's a bonus. It's what we can do behind the scene to kind of increase others getting involved. I mean, just to give you an idea, and we did work. Saj went to Gambia for 2 weeks. She did about 13 water taps only recently. She's come back, and someone saying our work then kind of said, look, I want to get involved and I want to do construct a water well. Came out of nowhere, and that cost around £1,300. And we were like, wow, how did you find out about us? Oh, we saw your clip on Instagram. And that's what sometimes it comes down to. Or we'll have someone that come and say, you know what, for example, currently we're going through a whole resale of our website, because it needs a bit of updating, it needs a bit of a change, a bit of a creativity. So we're kind of looking for people to kind of come and say, you know what, I've got a bit of an expertise in this area. Let me help you. Let me show you what you can potentially do. And it's about working with others. It's a collaborating, partnership, engaging, and I mean, like, thank you to you, the initially, for inviting us. This is all about kind of propagating that word to say to others, look, it's not. Everybody can be involved. There is no limits. There's no kind of race, cultural background, whatever you may think. There is no barrier. Anybody can help anyone. You know, it doesn't require much. And if it's not your money, it can be your time. If it's not your time, it can just be behind the scene, a bit of kind of helping with anything. It could be anything. It doesn't really matter.
The thread today, Shell, hasn't it? That's been the thread, as in, like, it's not just about money.
Yeah, it's your expertise. You might think that your daily job has got, oh, right, okay, I do my job and go home, but you've actually got a skill set that someone will actually need.
Yeah.
And what you can do very quickly.
And you know what, Shelley, there is so many people out there that have got so much skills. It's unbelievable. But they just lack confidence. They just lack that passion. Nobody kind of unlocks that key within them. But you know what? I've come across so many people that if they had half the chance, they would do so much good work. And that's purely because they just, you know, and obviously this day and age of society with social media and the negative of social media can't kind of keep you, or can't kind of make you go down and think, you know what, I don't want to get involved. But on the other side, there is so much skills and experience. Yes,
and
so
also,
much.
And also another thing as well is that people say to us, you know, our parents are from Pakistan, etc. We don't sort of just classify, oh, we're just going to help Pakistan. We don't mind what religion, race, etc. we are. That, you know, Gambia, do you know what I mean? It's a mixture of everybody. West Africa, we've gone out there, and you know, so we're not like shy to say, oh, we're happy to help wherever we can help. But obviously, our main projects are out there currently at the moment, but we don't sort of, do you know what I mean? Just sort of say, yeah, we're going to help this kind of. This is our sort of idea that we're only going to help this area or that area. You know, we are open. Sort of different areas.
Wow. I need you to come back now that you've got a little flavour, Sad. Now that you've got a little flavour of it. I mean, when you've got sort of like the lady that, you know, we've got sort of like comments on there, and somebody that Shelley and I know has put, tonight has been inspiring.
Oh, that's really nice. That's really nice.
It's all we do. It's about making a difference. So if we do something and that changes one person, whether it makes them think differently, whether it's something that changes, I don't know, something positive for them, whether they then go, not necessarily even for somebody here, if they then go and help another charity, they then go and help something else. We really don't matter about just and for people to
one person.
Exactly.
And you know that, and the other issue that you have is people tend to think that, oh, you have to be successful to help others. No, you don't. You know, just be you. You don't have to have 10 zeros in your bank account to be able to say, I'm going to now help anyone. I mean, me and Saj, we are nowhere near those 10 zeros in any shape, capacities. But
I'm just at zero. Just at zero.
Yeah. But you know what it is like? It's true, because like I started off like I used to put £40 away from my wage. You know, do you know what I mean? People could put £10 away and do something with that £10 at the end of the month.
Exactly.
You know, in a couple of months, it goes such a long way. Do you know what I mean? £10 to us, like even like do you know what I mean? Even like a minimum donation, we used to say like just even give us £2 a month on our website. You know, it's less than a coffee these days. Do you know what I mean? So it's not about giving large sums of money. It's even a little amount of time, little amount of money, etc. We will come back on it once we get our website all completed, etc. We'll have another project, so we will come back on Deez.
And yeah, you're right, Sad. It's not about just working with us. You know, find whatever you want to do in the charity world. It's not just. I'm not saying just come and work with us or come. Whatever you want to do it. Yeah. You know, so even if it is one. Yeah.
Is what you're sharing is something that can ignite something in someone that
100%.
You know what? Instead of just being, because we are very selfish now.
Yeah, very, yeah.
We are selfish, and it's a case of like, others. And do you know what? Even if you're doing just a tiny little thing, can you imagine if everybody was just doing a tiny little thing, how much further we and as society we would be?
I mean, just to give you an idea, Dee, in Christmas, we did a trial in the UK because we want to do something back home in the UK where we obviously are. So myself and Saj and others, we got together and said, what can we do? And we wanted to kind of target the elderly community. So we did a Christmas campaign where we did a food distribution for an elderly or housing community where elderly people were staying. And we went and kind of find out what they wanted for Christmas or in terms of food and stuff. And just to help out, especially with this current kind of cost of rise or cost of living crisis. So we just got a list of items. We then kind of got it together. We went to a supermarket, got it bought and delivered it ourselves. And honestly, I can't tell you enough that forget buying the stuff, forget getting it, spending that 15 minutes with the elderly people and just getting that energy from them almost spurs us on to kind of say, you know what, this is what it's all about. You know, this is it's all about that human connection, that human interaction. It's all about creating or elevate or kind of removing the burden of someone else. Like you said, Dee, even if it's one person, it doesn't matter. You can be the savior for that one person.
People have got this vision that if you're doing something, you've got to be hitting the masses. You've got to be changing the, you know. But if you can change the world for one person.
But you know, the other thing is that project that we did that was in Luton, and we didn't dictate to say, oh, this is what kind of food we're bringing you. We asked them to give us a list. Yeah, logistics wise, it was a little bit, but you know what? It's about asking that person. Well, even if you're going to give £10 to some elderly person or somebody in need, and ask them. Don't say to them, oh, I'm bringing you bread, milk, etc. Ask them what they want. Because we were quite surprised at what they wanted. Because some of the things like basic things as cheese, you know, not a lot of elderly people may not be able to afford cheese. Do you know what I mean? So always ask. Just because you're giving to somebody doesn't mean that you dictate what you're going to give. Just do a bit of research just around what's needed. Even in Gambia, when we go out in Gambia, we know what the main expensive things are. The 5 things that a lot of people: rice, potatoes, onions, oil, sugar is quite expensive. Do you know what I mean? So we know what they could do with a hand in, and then little spices and that is quite cheap out there. But I do think, like, even if one person helps one person in their community,
exactly.
It's not
Imagine
a lot.
the ripple, and that's, you know, and young people start seeing that, you know what, it's not just about you, it's about others, and even it's not just about us, it's about sort of like how can we help others. But we need to know that we need to help ourselves first sometimes.
Exactly. But you know what
I'm going to have to wrap you in a sec because I've got somebody.
What I've realised is that the cost of living in England now, everyone's panicking, etc. But around the world, people have been living like this for years. Their living cost of living is not new it's new to us, but it's not new to them. You know, there's a lot of people who are on a very small budget around the world.
Right, that hit us between the guts.
Yeah. That when you buy your next coffee at Costa. I'm joking. No Costa fan. I'm a Love Costa fan. Yeah.
Oh no! Do you know what? It's been honestly, such a pleasure and an honour at last, Saj, getting you on the show. Omar, it's been a pleasure.
No, thank you for having us.
Thank
you so much for having us.
And, you know, definitely got to come back because we're going to get messages. We need updates. We need to know what you're doing. Obviously, I know we've got the website there. Just wrap it up, if you don't mind, Omar. 2 sentences, or just name a couple of things, how people can either get involved, how they can support you, and I don't know, just something inspirational.
I'll keep it very simple. Reach out, be part of the journey.
Oh,
mic drop. Mic drop. Brilliant.
Thank you so much for having us.
Listening as well.
Yeah, and thank you to all your friends and colleagues that have jumped on and for all their wonderful comments as well. So, Saj, I'll catch up with you. Thank you, Omar.
Thank you very much.
We'll catch up soon.
Thanks,
all right, thanks.
Thanks,
all right.
everyone.
All right, bye-bye. Oh, my gosh. Have we got somebody in the wings?
Yes, we've got someone called Ali G. I don't know, is the Ali G?
You're
going to try to work out who it is.
No, well, I've got somebody my phone's just ringing. He's been trying to ring me because he was supposed to have been on earlier, but obviously we've overrun. But for those that have been on and been with us this evening, what a show!
Right, okay. There's a message. Did you see the message in the chat?
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So you're next guest.
Yes. So let's bring on my next guest. Got to keep it tight, guys. You guys are going like, Jesus, how many guests has she got? This is the final guest of the evening, and I've got a young man who I met on Thursday. Thursday gone. Jeez, I mean, literally the Thursday just gone. Now, as I'm introducing, if we can bring this young man on, Shell.
That's what I said. We haven't got them in there.
We haven't.
No.
Okay. Let me just check and see, guys. I need to go on my phone. Shell, what do you need to just recap the guys with? Because he was ringing me. He was there, but he was ringing me. So I don't know why he's ringing me.
You go run off. I'll go through the list. Shall I go through the whole list? If you caught the show earlier on today, the Simply Together show, what we've been doing is doing the rundown of the different events that we've got coming up. If you subscribe to our email, it's got the tiny one on there that's got Simply Deez email sub, or you go onto our Linktree, Simply Deezeventscic. It'll have the links on there to subscribe onto our emails. It's once a month at the moment. That could very well be changing to twice a month. There's some things going on in the background. What we're hoping to do is to connect more people in the community. So it'll be our events and then others' events. Two main events that we've got going on is the 20th of May, Health and Wellbeing event. We've done one of these once before. We've got the Luton Irish Forum this time, 10 till 2. And it's free for anyone to turn up to come along to that event. We are still got spaces for exhibitors. So if you're a charity, a project, community project, or if you've got a business that's specifically health and well-being, and it's an artisan-y kind of product that you got, for instance, send us an email. We'll actually then get you through onto the exhibitors. We've got a list with the prices and stuff. So when we say health and well-being, we mean the whole of you. It's your physical health and your mental health all ties in together, and that's been the kind of theme of the whole of today's show, really. That if you're volunteering and things like that, you're actually then nurturing yourself as well as those that you're helping. The other one we showed a little bit earlier on, for anyone that's then just watching now, the Black Bookcase, bringing it back to in-person events, 3rd of June at the Sixth Form College. So that's 12 till 6. And it has to really be 6 because we have to be out of Sixth Form College. We can't just then have it all night. So the Black Bookcase then coming up. But you know all of that if you subscribe to all of our different places.
Before we go, Shell, remember, need to know the subscription numbers.
Oh, yeah, there has only just been one that subscribed so far tonight.
Hang on, we've been on nearly 3 hours and you're telling me one?
Just
and that was probably, might well have been Ed.
It was Ed, yeah. It was Ed.
Okay. So everybody else who's watching is already subscribed, I take it.
Well, yeah, must be.
It's all right, we'll do our check and we'll be chopping them off. Hopefully, is our guest in the wings. I don't know about the, that Ali thing. I don't know who that is, Shell, because that's not him.
No. Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's not him. His name's
yes,
Joel.
I just remembered that going down the list that we didn't mention earlier, that was our community Zoom. So where the whole idea of our 2 books came from. Community Zoom, we now do it once a month. It's coming up next week, next Thursday. The links to that again are in the Linktree and on our emails.
And on the newsletter.
Yes. So you get the free Zoom link for that. But yes, so that's all in there. And it's very informal, just kind of chat, private chat. How's everyone's month been? Any updates?
Organisations come in and tell us what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, there's all sorts of different things that then go on. And of course, we won't have, and I did, I was messaging earlier on during the show, we don't have an update from Tishi because she's gone and run off. Gone off enjoying herself. She's too busy to update us. But I'm now worried that the next update that we get from her,
it's going to be overload.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Is the young man there?
No. No, he's not.
Okay, we have got, I know what the time is, guys, but I already told him that we're going to do a part 1, a part 2, a part 3, because there's so much. And as I was saying, I met him last Thursday at Gary's Simply Deez crew member. His mum's funeral was Thursday, and it was a beautiful day, Gary. But this young man, I'm not sure. He's not 100% tech savvy, I know. So whenever I rang him, we went through it, and he was actually, I don't know, Sunday, something. He said, I'm waiting backstage. I said, that's what you need to get. So that's what you will see on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, Gary. I don't know.
I think he popped in and then.
Sorry, did you say you think he popped in?
No, earlier when we were then talking to the I Hope.
Okay.
And then.
And maybe he might have.
Then he dropped out, but then he hasn't then come back in again.
Okay.
I think I can see his Facebook page, but I can't then send him a message.
I've just sent him the link again.
Oh, right, okay.
So, like, just in case, when you've got it, but it's like 4 messages up or something. I said, there it is, and to try it again. So whilst we wait, just going to see a few moments and see if.
Oh, hang on. I think we are.
Oh, God is good. A little while. All the time.
Sorry about the technical problem.
Shell. Let me do introductions. So as I was saying, I'm giving you a little build up here, Joel. On Thursday was at Gary Avina's funeral, and it was a beautiful, beautiful day, wasn't it, Joel? It's a beautiful day. Right. And we were sitting down and we were just eating and that, and Joel kind of pulled up and kind of sat next to Gary. Didn't really get a chance to chat to him, and then somebody else came along and needed to speak to Gary, so Joel kind of moved up and was away. So anyway, where the person's gone, and Joel's still, I don't know, like 3 spaces down kind of thing, and I'm like, I don't even know his name. Get over here. So I'm like, what? I said, get over here. So he did. He moved up, and when they say the rest is history, and here the young man is. Joel, as you can see on the screen, this young lady here, she's Shelley. Her name's Shelley. Shelley is one of the directors of Simply Deez Events, which you've looked up, and he studied. He probably can tell us more about us than we know, Shell. He can probably tell us more about us than we know. So Shelley's the producer of the show, Joel, so that's why she's on and does a whole load of all the social media stuff. And as I said, she's a director, so one of the key people within the organisation. But I said, after having a conversation with Joel, I want you on the show. It's like, you want? I said, I want you on the show Tuesday. No, nothing. Unless something drastic comes up. Otherwise, you're going to reach. You're going to reach. And he shared some stuff, which he's going to share just some nuggets. We're going to say he's going to share some nuggets today. But ultimately, Shell, this young man, book material, Shell. He said, yeah, book material. And when I'm going like, you don't know what you're saying, boy. You don't know what you're saying. Because tell him, Shell, what's happened now. The fact that I've now got hold of him, so to speak. Tell him it's game over, Shell. Tell him before we
game
get
over. It's like Velcro. You will not get rid of her whatsoever. I'm expecting Gary to turn around and say yes for definite. You just can't get rid of her. She just sticks.
Oh, bless you, Joel. It's so good to see. Because there's me going like, I know we normally finish at 10, but I was going like, Shell doesn't know it yet, but we're going to have to go a little over because I need Joel to come on. I need him to come on. So, welcome. Joel, there's a few people watching. We've had hardly any beggars watching today. We normally have millions, but for some reason we haven't gotten the millions today. So you don't need to be worrying about that. Shelley will tell you, I peel people back like an onion.
All right, okay.
And I did say this, didn't I?
Yes, you did. You did.
I don't know why you sound a little muffled. Is that me, Shell? Or does he sound a little muffled? Yeah, you're not clear.
I'm not.
No.
You want me to take it out?
I can hear you, but it sounds just a little muffled. So not clear.
Yeah, I think it might be a headset.
Talk.
Shall I take it off from there? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, you're not clear. We can see you absolutely fine. So it's not the seeing, it's the visual. It's not really clear, and it's so important because I know some of this journey, and I want that clarity to come through, and for people to get the gist of why you're here. So say something more.
What would you like me to say?
Yeah, it's still muffled. Is it just me, Shell, or is he?
I think it's the headset that's
It might be the headset you've got.
Yeah.
What are you talking into? Is it a device? Huh?
I've turned it off.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Is that a lot better?
Oh my god!
Yeah.
It's,
Am I coming through loud and clear?
oh, 2000%. Yes.
All right. Okay, so the headset.
Oh, yeah. I think you might be trying to be young there, Joel.
Trendy. Aye.
I told you, he's thinking like, right, I'm going to change from how I said, like, sadly for you, Joel, I said I ain't going to change, and I'm probably going to be even worse than when he met me, than when he met me on Thursday. So, Joel, we met then. We had quite a bit of a conversation, and we've spoken since then. And I'm like, I need you to come on the show. The show's called Real Talk, as I said, with Simply Deez. And, you know, we've had different people. We have organisations that have shared things today. We have people that just share things. And when you share, the benefits of sharing is sometimes, I don't know, it lightens a load for you as an individual, but also for those people that are listening. And when they share and what have you, that it might be something that somebody needs to hear at a given point.
Yeah, I agree.
and can be making a difference to them. So I know this is definitely a part 2, 3 job with yourself. So when you think you've got to cram something in and I'm stopping you, that's because I need you to take time. Not going to go too deep.
I hear that.
Because this young man, what did you say to me when I met you on Thursday? What did you say that you wanted to do?
Well, it was a matter of me wanting
Write a
book. Yeah.
Okay.
Book.
So
film.
We don't want everything out there before somebody try to steal anything. So we're going to give them a little overview-ish type thing.
All right.
But then we're going to do what we need to do, because this is. Did you hear this, guys? You've planted that seed now, Joel. You do understand, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Gary told me to treat you gently. I don't know what that's about. He told me to treat you gently. So what I'm going to do, Joel, I need you to, let's peel it back. So you seem to have a bit of an accent. Don't get me wrong. Don't get upset.
No.
You seem to have a little bit of an accent. It doesn't sound Londony. It sounds, no, Yorkshire or somewhere.
Yeah. No, I grew up in Leeds.
Okay.
In Chapeltown.
Okay. So one of how many?
One of 3.
One of 3. Okay, and where did you sit? This is very important for some people.
The eldest.
Where did you sit? Oh, the youngest.
The eldest.
Oh, the eldest. Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that already, I don't know why you've said the eldest, and already my shoulders is like that's a weight. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because maybe I'm being stereotyped, but you think as an eldest, you have got a lot to kind of. You do.
I mean, you sort of feel that you're kind of a man who's got to take care of the younger ones. Do you know what I mean? Even though we're all children at the same time. Just sort of comes natural that you feel.
So what were the age gaps then? What were the age gaps between you and your siblings?
Well, my sisters are younger than me. One's younger by 2 years. One's younger by 3 years.
Okay, so not too young.
No, not massively.
But
you know
enough
what I mean?
for you to have to. You were doing certain things, right? As in, like,
I
don't know. What were you doing?
Well, you do feel you to protect your brothers and sisters, your sisters. Do you know what I mean? From any harm regarding schools and things like that. And even in playing out in the back street to protect them. You know what I mean?
Okay. And how was school? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, well, school was all right when you're young. I mean, early memories of school was about 6 years old. We used to have to catch a bus to school in the mornings, and it was a bit of a trek. Do you know what I mean? From our house, so we'd have to get down to the bus stop. And one particular morning, we got down to the bus stop, and there was an altercation going on, and it turns out, it was 2 prostitutes fighting with knives. And I'll never forget the thigh-length boots that they were wearing and swearing and shouting. And yet the dinner ladies who were in charge of us were trying to shepherd us and shield us from witnessing what was going on. Do you know what I mean? But as 6 and 7-year-old kids, we're going to be wanting to see it that bit more, But yeah, that's one of the early memories of on the way to school.
Okay. So how did you get on in school? I mean, did you enjoy it? Did you do well?
Well, that was junior school, you know what I mean? And you just go through it, don't you? You know what I mean? I mean, it's at that age, I think it's more about playing than learning. Do you know what I mean? I mean, again, after that school, I ended up going to my junior school, which was a school called Elmhurst in Leeds. I was there for about, I'd say maybe 2 years, when we had a new teacher come into the school who used to be in the army, but has retired and was now a teacher. And he introduced the cane to the school, because before that we used to have the slipper.
Okay.
But all of a sudden he'd bought these canes that he said we needed discipline in the school. So he basically took the headmaster, well, she was a headmistress, into having the canes as part of the punishment. And she agreed. you know. But my vision of him was like he was like saying to the female teachers in the school that if you have any problems with any of your pupils, then send them to me.
Right.
Yeah. One particular incident where you know, I was in a classroom and I probably wasn't being easy for the female teacher, and she called him. He was next door, and he came rushing in the room, and then straight away shouting at me, you know, get in my classroom. And so I went to the classroom, and he opened his drawer, and he had 3 canes in there, and he took the canes out and he started wishing them in the air, yeah, like to say, oh, which one am I going to use, you know? And the class was full of pupils at the time, yeah, his classroom. So he asked me to put my hand out. I put my hand out, and then I withdrew it again. And by the 3rd time I'd done this, he was getting quite wound up, and people started laughing in the class, yeah. So in the end, I did it a 4th time, and then he grabbed me around my neck, shoved me against the wall. And then my cousin, like Henry, who's actually not my cousin, but he's like a cousin, he see what was going on. He come out of his chair, jumped on the teacher from behind, pulled him back off me, and me and Henry, we did physically hit him, and then we left the school.
So when
So
you
for that incident,
you left the school, do you mean you were excluded, expelled?
No, we ran out of school.
Oh, right.
We ran out of school.
Okay.
Yeah, we ran out of the school that day, yeah. And I went home and told my mother what had happened, because she wasn't happy, because obviously she's got my version of events, yeah. So we went marching up there that same afternoon, and then the headmistress said, no, that I was suspended initially, yeah. So I was suspended, but then a few weeks later, a letter came to say he's excluded, you know.
So how old were you
that
at
was
this point?
that time. I was trying to work it out. I think I must have been about 11, not much older than that, you know.
And excluded, so you literally at 11, you must have just been like just started high school.
Yeah, well, in them days, this school was middle school, they used to call it.
Oh, okay.
At that time. So we had juniors, and then middle school, then senior school.
Wow.
And this was middle school. And yeah, I didn't want to be excluded. I wanted to go back to that school because all my friends were there from my junior school, if you know what I mean. But it was not to be. So I was excluded and then sent to another school, which was Victoria Park, which was what I call a special school for children who have been disruptive or hard to handle, and also had people who were coming from foster homes, care homes, and disability children. So a lot of the pupils were getting minibuses in and taxis into school from all over Leeds. And I was one of them.
So you got such a wide mixture of young people, different abilities, different scenarios, but they're all in the same.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and unbeknown to me, I mean, like you say, we had so much mixture, and a lot of the children, well, quite a few of them had problems, like they were in foster homes, and it's because they had been living in a very abusive home. So they ended up going to a foster home, but they also came to the school with some of them problems.
Yeah.
You know, so there was girls that were sort of obviously been sexually abused, possibly. They'd come to school was quite forward in their knowledge of sexuality at that age, you know. Again, you know, looking back, I can see that now, why they were like that. But at the time, I was a bit shocked, you know. On entering that school. Sorry, Dee.
No, you carry on.
Yeah, on entering the school, I mean, I had an interview with the headmaster, and I remember saying to him, will I be able to go back to my old school? And he says, well, you know, if you prove yourself and you're not going to be naughty or disruptive, then yeah, the possibility is you can go back to your school. But what I realised though is people never go back to the school. You know, once they're there, that was it. You know what I mean?
To me, it's a case of like it sounds like you're kind of like, once you're there, that's it. You're kind of written off. You're there, and there's no coming back.
No.
So how would that have made you? So are you saying you went through all of your kind of the other, your years you were at this school then, or?
I was there until we moved. Yeah. I was there till about 12, 13, sort of that range. When for the area we lived in Leeds, I think there was a lot going on there. And I think my mother, in her wisdom, believed that I need to get away, because if not, he's going to lead a life of crime, possibly.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we moved to Peterborough, and I went to an all-boys school to finish off my schooling, which is what I did do at Lincoln Road Boys School. And then at 16, found a job in Peterborough as a scaffolder. And at the same time, I was going back to Leeds most weekends, because that was where most of my friend base was. So yeah, and in the end, I ended up moving back to Leeds at the age of 17, 18.
Wow.
And living in a place called the Palace. Now, only the people in Leeds will know what I'm talking about, because downstairs was a youth club, but upstairs was accommodation. Sorry?
No, we know somebody who lived in Leeds, so.
Oh, right. Yeah. So I mean, like I said, but the local police had it down as a den of thieves. But I was a Rasta at the time, because by that time I'd locked up my head, and was feeling more religious than a rebel, So I used to walk around with a Bible when I was in Leeds, and I got the nickname of DI. Yeah, because I would always approach people and said, "How's DI?" And in the end, they call me DI. And I would have my Bible with me, and I would pull out my Bible, and I would ask people if they want to reason with me. And then people would say, "Oh, no, not you again." You know what I mean? But I was living in that house with a lot of my friends, like I said, who'd gone to school with me when we were juniors. And now we're living together again. And now we're 17 years old. Do you know what I mean? And the bloke who owned the house, or the guy who ran the house, because it was council run, was an English guy called Richard. I mean, bless his heart, he's passed away now. But Richard did his best to try and keep everybody in check, because there were police coming there quite regular.
So is it just literally you young men? There wasn't
Yeah.
Oh my goodness me.
There was Richard, and he had a couple of helpers. Yeah. There was an African guy from Ethiopia who was like on a summer course to do with youth leaders. So he was assisting Richard. But Richard didn't have no control over the guys in the house, because what they used to do, they used to go out burgling. So if they weren't burgling houses, they were stealing cars. So I, as a Rasta at the time, wasn't into any of that, and I would try to talk them away from that. But I suppose in the end, I fell foul. Do you know what I mean? I gave in.
If you're going to be in that environment, it's going to be very difficult for you.
Very difficult. Very difficult, Dee. Very difficult, And I mean, I'm not going to go into great details about it, but at one point, I ended up breaking the law myself. And then I ended up cutting my hair, because I felt that I couldn't say I was a Rasta anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd committed this crime, and I suppose that was a path I was looking at. You know what I mean? Because sort of going back, sometimes I talk a bit cryptic. I go back and forth, but going back, I mean, Leeds was full of. I mentioned prostitutes then, yeah. But this time when I went back, there was Jack the Ripper about at that time.
Wow.
But there were still plenty of prostitutes and plenty of pimps who I knew from my earlier days. Do you know what I mean? So these were the role models in the area, if you like, the pimps and the drugs man. Do you know what I mean? They was what people was emulating to get because they didn't see there was going to be any job. You know, they're going to know apprenticeship. You know, a lot of the people didn't stay on to get exams, didn't finish schooling properly. You know what I mean?
We've been talking about this earlier on, Joel, when you see the show back and sort of saying about young people, we've talked about role models and all that sort of stuff. So all what you're saying now, we know anyway, but the fact that you're saying it and obviously and giving us the real context.
Yeah. I forgot where I was up to, sorry. Living at the palace, me going into crime, and then I suppose my first remand, the prison I went to start with, was a remand, and it was a place called Thorpe Arch in Wetherby in Leeds. And I was 17 and a half. So it was the first experience of prison life. Do you know what I mean? And at 17 and a half, I suppose you feel it's a bit like a boarding school, if you like, you know, for bad boys. You can't play out or anything, but you've got a lot of friends were there, so I felt comfortable. Do you know what I mean? And I got judge's chambers when I was there. Actually, I don't know if you know what that is, but it basically let me out after a short period of being in there. And that way, I then ended up sort of going down that path, if you like, you know, without going into great details. But I'll just name a couple of the institutes that I ended up visiting whilst in Leeds and going through the system. So I was in Strangeways at one point. I was in Armley. I was in Winston Green. I was in Bedford. And I did Borstal 9 months. And I also ended up at Glenparva at one point. And these are all institutes where the people that I'm meeting are the same people that I knew or knew of, you know, back in the day. Do you know what I mean? And everybody's living the same life because everybody's trying to make a living. And the only way they know how, do you know what I mean? And it was to take something that doesn't belong to them. Do you know what I mean? Now, you know, coming back to my life now, I mean, there's a lot more I could tell you about the ins and outs of Chapeltown. As in, I was at the riots in 81. The day after the riots, I got arrested. Policeman said to me that jumper I was wearing looked like it come from one of the warehouses that got burnt down. I was like, I don't think so, you know what I mean? But anyway, I did end up in the cells for a few hours that day. So my criminal history does read quite extensive, do you know what I mean? Not that I'm proud of it, I'm not at all, but I now look back on it and sort of ask myself, why was I like that? And I felt that the education system kind of let me down, do you know what I mean? Because since my last sentence, which was in 89, and I got 18 months and I had to do 12 months. And then when I come out of there, I sort of said, you know what, I've had enough of this, you know. And I came out of there and I got a job. And I was at that job for 12 years. It was a good job, very good job. I felt fortunate, blessed that I had it because I used to do exhibitions, just traveling around Europe with the company, which is no longer exists now, but it was a company called Crossfields Electronics. And we used to build scanners back in the day. So this is going back in the 80s. So it was really quite high tech at the time. Do you know what I mean? Took redundancy from there. Sorry?
I'm not going to, because you're going to come back and talk more. But so you've done God knows how many times in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. What changed that you didn't want to go back again?
What changed? I mean, I had a really long period of not getting in trouble with the police. So, you know, I would say from about 86 to in the 90s, I avoided what I would call problems. I mean, speeding tickets and things like that is not the same, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not going to jail for them, you know. I had a domestic with an ex-partner, and with that partner, I ended up going to prison. Yeah, and I was in my 40s, yeah, at the time. And at the time, I was told it's possibly going to be 7 years. Do you know what I mean? And I thought, well, hold on a minute, you know. But when I checked it out myself, it was because of my extensive record. Yeah. And although I haven't been in any problems for such a long time, I think you took one look at the record and you said, well, hold on a minute, you know, although he hasn't, he has again, you know what I mean? So, but again, it was a fray. The charge was a fray, and I got 6 months, do you know what I mean? And the fact that I was on remand for 6 months meant that I walked out of court that day. And I was working at Royal Mail as a union rep at the time. And, you know, again, I've been at Royal Mail quite a lengthy time before this prison sentence. And Royal Mail, my job was kept open for me, which I felt blessed about. And I had a flat, which also was kept for me. So the union was actually giving me a small fee for the 6 months that I was in the prison, you know. So I felt I owed a lot. But the thing is, what you haven't got is before I went to prison as a union rep, I helped a lot of people. And I had so much support when I was in prison, you know, people coming to see me from work. And I was really touched that when I got back to it, they'd done a whip round. Yeah. And it really touched my heart that people would actually think like that of me, do you know what I mean? And even came to court when I was at Crown Court, they came in the droves, which again, I was quite surprised about, but touched at the same time. So yeah, I did the 6 months, and whilst in there, I worked at the chaplain. I was a chaplain orderly. And me and the vicar got talking, and as we did, we talked quite a lot. We talked a lot, me and Andy, we talked a lot. And I had an experience. I don't even know how to explain it to anybody. I had an experience in myself, and I just found the tears was running down my cheeks. Do you know what I mean? And that, I think, was a turning point. Do you know what I mean? And then people were coming to me in prison and saying to me, you know, why are you smiling? You know, you're in prison, mate. You shouldn't be smiling. And I said, do you know what? You're right. Physically, I'm in prison, but spiritually, I'm free. You know, I'm free as a bird. I'm over that gate. I'm over that fence, because they can't lock me down like that. You know what I mean? And I had people come into my room asking for Bibles, and I tell you, I was touched, because people had things in their lives. Like one chap had his daughter pass away, and he didn't get to go to the funeral, and he came and said, can I have a Bible? You know, I had people whose nan had passed away. Can I have a Bible? And then I had people just wanted a general chat. You know what I mean? So I came out of prison, I think, a different person, really, than the one that went in. Do you know what I mean? And so when I came to work, there were some people who liked me and some people who didn't like me. You know, simple fact that you'd been to prison and you'd come back straight to your job. They didn't think you was worthy. Do you know what I mean? No matter what you'd done, they didn't care. But Royal Mail had a policy that if you haven't done theft, if you haven't done violence, and you haven't done drugs, your job's still open, you know? So that a lot of people couldn't get their head around that bit, you know? But anyway.
Joel, I'm going to stop you.
All right.
And Shelley will tell you, it's like, is this not like a movie show? That's why Joel doesn't. Shell, I need you to come off mute, and I need you, because Joel's heard from me, and I just kind of I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and doesn't understand. There's more, but he's talking about a book. This is book something. This is book, film, a whole heap of things. Seriously. So that's why we're not going to go too deep. Joel. And as I said, you'll be back. But Shell, can you just, from what you've heard, because Shelley will tell you the most she might have known, and I don't even know she knew that, might have known your name, and that's about it. She didn't know nothing about your story, nothing at all. So she's hearing everything you've said for the first time. Can you just comment on what you've heard, please?
It's a story that does need to come out there in a book of some kind.
Yes.
It's something that I suppose at the time they didn't realise, but it could quite easily happen to the kids nowadays if you steer them
It is
in a wrong direction. They're going to have a particular belief on themselves.
Yep.
And they're going to then get mixed in with other people that are not going to be the best for them. And so for you then being excluded from a school and put into a mix of, to be quite honest, even back then, they weren't, it was 4 walls to keep the kids in. It wasn't necessarily a school and learning. Things have changed slightly now, and yes, there are better provisions, but that you would just be just there because the government has to look after the kids up to a certain age. So there wasn't that kind of self-development, let alone sort of you actually learning things. And then, as you say, getting mixed in, that you then go off and you're in that same crowd time and time again. I mean, I've watched, there's a program on the parole boards that was on the telly just recently, that series. And you see in some of their stories of people that have come up for parole that it's, you can come out of prison and you'll say, yes, I'll change and I can do this, that and the other. But you'll go back to your same house. You'll go back to your parents that happens to have all your friends around you. And it just happens. You fall back into different
You're right there, Shelly. I've seen it so many times. I mean, in that little 6 months I was there was a number of people who had gone out and come back. I couldn't get my head around it. You know, that part of me, some of them might have been institutionalized, possibly, you know, but at the same time, some just lived a life.
They prefer being in and saying, right, okay, you wake up at this time, your meal's at that time, and I don't have to worry about going out to work or to do this or to do that. It's got to be that. I can't see it being anything else.
No,
I
mean, I have spoken with, I've been to a school and spoke to children who were at a school, again, a school where kids have been sent to. This is in Peterborough, where they'd been sent from other schools, so they'd been excluded again, and sort of give them a bit of a touch of my life. And I've been to a boxing gym and spoken to young lads. Again, just giving them a flavour of some of the things I've done, not everything, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's what I love to be able to prevent, you know.
Can you so not see it, Shell? Can't you? You can so see that. And I said to Joel, sometimes things happen for a reason. And don't get me wrong, there's no glorification, and we're not condoning, we're not none of that stuff. What we're sort of saying is right now, I said to Joel, you are not written off by no means. I said this now, unfortunately for him, we got him, Shell. We got him.
I'm surprised you haven't made him do a contract for International Men's Day.
Shell's just typing up the contract now.
Yeah.
I
think.
No, in all seriousness, Joel,
we have had those similar series. Yeah. So we have had similar stories of like petty crime or gang crime. There's been a few different versions of where we've had them at International Men's Day, and it takes a lot to stand up and say your first piece. So you writing down some of these bits is your first step. Talking about it tonight is another first step, and and actually speaking out at, as you say, like the boxing club and stuff, that actually says, I've been there, done it, got the t-shirt, just learn from my mistake. Don't this is what could happen, because they don't see it. Kids always think of sort of, oh yeah, whatever. For me, I went through to the same high school as my nieces that came up underneath me, and then their children have gone through the same high school.
Right.
And when my nieces were at high school, it was the fact of, oh, you nip out at lunchtime, you follow a route round that gets you into the village without the teachers seeing. Well, of course, I was doing it. More likely, my sister was doing it when she was at that same school.
Yeah.
My nieces then were like, oh, do you know about that? Well, yeah, I've been there. I've been a child. But for something similar to that, yes, I've grown up on your estate. I've been there, been through the hardship, like gone through all the same crap, nothing to do. But yeah, the kids nowadays don't actually then see that, and they want to do their own thing.
But
We're living in different times.
Yeah. But I think also, Joel, the bit that we've heard of your journey, so as a teacher now, say a teacher's listening now, is maybe you're just going to rethink perhaps some of the moves that you make, because what you hear is the impact of certain things that you may have done, certain things you may have spoken to a child, the impact, the long-term impact of that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? As in, like, I know sort of like now there's a thing about exclusions. It's all right, you know, we're excluding that child, we're excluding them, and so all these kids are excluded. What do we expect to happen to them? What do we expect is going to happen? But guess what? We're going to put them all in these places.
PGLs. Yeah.
What I don't know. What do we think is potentially going to be happening? Which they know. You know, and maybe
well.
Sorry?
The official names for some of these buildings, even then doesn't. So you could think, oh, right, okay, they've gone to that special school. They've gone to. You could think of that as you're doing general talk, but they officially, well, I don't know whether they still do, but they were officially calling them like the special unit. You'd go, oh, I can't go to that school. I'll go to the unit. It's like even words like that. It's just
because Victoria Park was called a special educational needs school.
Yeah.
You know, that's its proper title. I mean, it's still there now, I believe, but it's probably something else. I mean, I know my junior school's been pulled down because I've been to Leeds since, and you know, it's singing, and you know, I've told you little bits about my life. Yeah, I mean, you know, I have 7 children, and yeah, I could go on. Do you know what I mean?
I told you, that's why I said
none of my children, touch wood, none of my children have been to prison. Do you know what I mean? And
that's a great
it's something I'm really happy about, because I wouldn't want them to have to experience, you know, having your freedom taken away from you, because I think your freedom is such a precious thing, and we take it for granted, you know.
Say that again, Najal. Say that again.
Yeah, we do take freedom for granted, you know. It's such a precious thing to be able to look up and see the sky and hear the birds and squirrels and robins and everything else that you only see, you know, when you're free. But when you're behind the wall, behind the fence, behind that barbed wire, you're just seeing that, you know what I mean? And it's not nice, you know. It does affect people's minds. You know,
I am so proud.
Many people I've met in there, they've been under medication whilst in prison, and it's like you're talking to a zombie. But yet you'd think if you saw that person outside, that you'd speak to that person. You know, I mean, when I was in Peterborough prison this last time, it was actually the riots in London had just finished, so there was an overspill from the prisons in London because it was too full up down there. They were sending them up here. Yeah, so we had a load of guys from London who was in the riots would come up, and they were full of the riots. You know, they were full of what they'd got and what they'd done and what, you know, what they're going back to. But at the same time, they wasn't happy because their families can't get all the way up there to visit them. You know what I mean? And so there was a lot of like, the media was hyping up the riot and what they'd done. You keep repeating the pictures and having a look at the burning buildings and, you know, pictures of individuals. Because I mean, I know they did catch a lot of them because they had still pictures of them from CCTV and that. You know what I mean? So they did catch quite a lot of them, even months and months later. But yeah, we had the overspill, and that brought tension because obviously the people who come up, they still want to get all their little goodies, you know, your little parcels of drugs or your phone and your things like that. So yeah, there was a bit of tension for a while. Yeah, such is life.
You know what it's like? I don't even know how to explain it, but Joel's just kind of like, and I'm like, you don't understand. So currently, I mean, Joel, do you want to say what your situation is currently now? Because we're gonna wrap for now,
Yeah.
Joel. For now.
Well, at the moment, I'm unemployed. Yeah, I took ill health retirement from Royal Mail, and I went to a couple of holidays, as a lot of people know. Visited a few countries: Kenya, Mexico, Egypt. Was down the Nile for 7 nights on the Nile. That was nice, a nice experience. And a safari in Kenya. Yeah, so I feel blessed now, you know, and I want to pass that on. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel everybody deserves to have some kind of peace in their life. I'm not a preacher, you know what I mean? That's not what I'm about. You know, I'm about ideally prevention.
That's not even a mock. It is a case of like, and what I said to you, Joel, is like, I don't want you to be nothing different from how I met you. Remember I said that? And that's how you be. That's why Gary's put so proud of you, Joel.
Right, has he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said he's going to help you with your book.
Yes, I'm going to need that, yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I will be going to see him in the next few days.
All what's gone on through your life, Joel, and there's been, like a lot of us, but there's different ups and downs. But with that now, it's like, what do you do with that?
Well, you got to use it, innit? You know, use it for good.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And I'm thanking you, Dee, for giving me this platform, you know what I mean? Because I've not had this kind of platform. I mean, as a union rep, I couldn't tell people about my past. You know what I mean? That's not what they want to hear. They want to know, are we going to get a wage rise? You know?
Yeah.
Can I get holidays? You know what I mean? They're not interested, you know? Yeah, so even when I come out of jail, people weren't really pestering me about that. They were just still wanting me to be that rep because that's all they'd known me as, you know? So I spent 12 years at Royal Mail, which, again, is a lovely place to work for. I hasten to add, as everything changes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So now, you're at the next stage now, Joel, on your journey, on life's journey. And I said the only obstacles are...
me.
Okay.
I am the only obstacle. Yeah, true.
Because whatever you sort of like, it's there, and you've got so much. Oh my gosh, so much. We're following.
Well, it's nice to hear you say that, Dee. You know, because I do feel I've got a lot to offer. You know what I mean? But it's getting it over there, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Shell, I have to bring in an independent adjudicator because I think you think I'm biased, and because I'm kind of like, I'm Team Joel, and so you're like, yeah, Dee, yeah. So I have to bring in the independent person that doesn't know you at all, and she will, the show's called Real Talk. She'll keep it real. Shell, with what you know from what Joel said, do you see, as in, because I said to him, like, your life is just beginning, mate.
Yeah.
Trust me. But anyway, Shell, what do you think?
Well, if you wanted to do a book, yes, there's definitely a book there. Gary is already then put that he's going to help you with your book. You know, you've got us here. We've written books, so yeah. But then also as part of that you've done a couple of visits, like boxing and everything else. I can actually see you do more of that, because it is very much, it's, as we said earlier, you go by your strengths, you go by those little things that you know. And if you've been a union rep, you're used to just speaking to people and listening.
Yeah.
So why not then turn that into not what your concerns are, but what you've gone through, and actually speaking to people.
No, you're right there, Shelley.
Whether that be you going into places, whether that be that you just do podcasts, like something like this, that's then putting your voice.
Well, it'd be nice. It'd be interesting to see what response you guys get from this podcast. Do you know what I mean? I think if that feedback is positive as yourselves are, then I think that helps me to push on through, knowing I'm doing the right thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Buzzing, absolutely buzzing, buzzing for you. When I'm like, and I said to Shell, so Joel, and she's like, no, he's not there. I thought, what do you mean he's not there? What do you mean he's not there? I've been looking forward to getting him on my show. Don't even tell me. I thought, I'm not interested. No offense, Joel. Not interested you coming on in May. I want you on today's show. And so what we've done, Joel, we've just done a little sprinkling for them out there. We've just done a little sprinkling. We're not going to give them too much. We've just done a little sprinkling. So it's oh my gosh, what next? What? Did he say he's writing a book? What? Who? What? And we get and I'm certainly, obviously Gary's going to be doing what he's doing, but we do have connections. I told you about the 3rd of June. I'm sure I did. Gary's going to be here, so you've got to come with Gary. That's our event, the Black Book Case, and it'd be great to get you down in Luton also as well. And I think just the like-mindedness and just knowing that your journey is not over. However many things that.
I know, Dee, that there's thousands like me, just like me, and they haven't said anything to anyone for years because they're thinking no one's interested. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm another black kid that went to school and got excluded. Wow, but actually, when you put about the amount of people that it happens to, you know, that then makes you sit up and say, hold on a minute.
Exactly. That's the point, Joel. That's the point. Because then that way, then you've got, can you imagine, as you're saying, those numbers and just written off in society, and it's like you're out now and it's like, right, I'm just gonna, nothing. Everybody has something to give.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
You know, and we're gonna kind of like be around and help as we can, kind of work that out, because exactly what you're saying, Shell. Just totally, I said that to you. I can see. I have so many things I can see, and I'm thinking like, but you, I said the only obstacle is you, Joel. That's
true.
the only obstacle, because anything else, don't be worrying about other people. Don't be worrying about other people. Don't be worried. You need to have that, but self-belief. Like we believe because we know. We know. But you need to know. And it's like, right, okay, so come next week now when I speak to you, it's like, well, Dee, you know, I blah, blah. Yes. I'm now, is it? So, in all seriousness, I'm sure Gary, because he's still on, this show is from when you came on the show, I don't know, let's say it's the last half hour, 45, whatever it is. However, Gary can, I'm sure, cut it or whatever, edit it so that it's got whatever. And you know what? Let that be a little bit of a CV for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when you look back, you're going to be, is that me? And it'd be, I'm serious. It'd be,
right.
And it's like, and that's what I said about the realness about you, Joel, because if you sort of like start changing your dynamics and blah blah blah, it's not going to be. But when you're real, so if it's a case of I don't know, my brain's just gone sort of like so many different things that you potentially could be doing.
Right, you got me at it now, Dee, I tell you.
You know what? It's so funny, Shell, because when I spoke to him, he was going like, "Oh my God, you've got me buzzing," and I go, That's right.
Yeah.
You ain't got time to be like, no. I said, life is just beginning, mate. I said, grab it and run with it.
Mm.
I think that's the quote in one of our books, isn't it? You just got to grab on, hold on tight,
and run with it.
It's gonna go.
Shall I tell you what? Well, Shelley probably put it on the screen, but Joel, this is the last comment Gary just put. Joel, it would make my mum proud that her passing started this new chapter.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, and that's touching for Gary to say that. Do you know what I mean? Really touching. But yeah, no, it's a new chapter.
It's going to be a glorious
I'm looking forward to it now. I'm on it now. You know, he says that he's on it like a cow bonnet. Yeah.
So, are you going to be on the comedy circuit as well?
No, I'm not good at jokes.
You are. Joel, we're literally finishing up now because, you know, the show normally finishes at 10. And I know you came on late, but you'll be back again. You have to be back again. There's other things that we do that Gary will know. You're going to say, like, for crying out loud, why are they bombarding me? And that is what we will do. We make no apologies for it, do we, Shell? We don't apologise. We're going to bombard you.
Bombard away.
Make sure, if you haven't already, signed up to the newsletter. Let's increase our numbers, Shell.
Okay.
That tells you everything about what we're doing. Do you know what I mean? Our movements. If there's things that we see, and this is not just yourself, Joel, I'll be honest with you, but across the board, if we see things, we share it on our platforms, we share it to individuals. It's not necessarily what we're doing, but it might be something that you may be interested in or could get involved in, or whatever the case might be. And it's all about making a difference. And just you sharing, I'm telling you now, just sharing a little bit of your journey. Because when I heard it on Thursday, I was like, on my show Tuesday, is that on? And I'm like, oh yeah. So
well, I'm glad I sorted out my internet business.
Oh, don't you worry.
My logging in.
So don't you worry about that, Joel. That hasn't deterred from anything that you've shared with us tonight, honestly. So don't worry about that. Yeah?
Okay.
So hopefully you're going to sleep tonight.
Yeah. Well, not for a minute anyhow. Not yet. No, I'm buzzing. Yeah, my head's going round and round. I should have said this and I should have said that. Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you now. Don't any of that.
Right.
Because there's other opportunities, and you've got to remember this is the first time you've done anything like this.
Yeah.
So for a first timer, Shell, didn't he do good?
Very good.
Really? Thank you.
Yeah, trust me. Whereas I might lie, Shell doesn't lie. Shell, unfortunately, I's a liar, and Shell doesn't lie. No. Honestly, you'll be, and Gary's put on there also as well. So when you, as I said, you can watch this back. It's on Facebook. It's also on YouTube. Right. Gary, shouting out to you, if you could just snip the bit that Joel's done, so that Joel can have that, and maybe if you want to share that with people, Joel, you can do.
Yeah.
And you like just watching it. Don't start being over analytical, but you watch it and be like, do you know what? You'll be able to see what we see.
Right, because obviously I don't know how I come across. You know what I mean? It's
and believe more in yourself and your abilities and what you can do. All right.
Okay.
So I will catch up with you tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, Deez. See you, Shelley. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
We'll talk soon.
No problem. Yes, you definitely will. Take care, darling.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye. Take care. Bye. Shelley Titmus. I don't know what the time is. I don't know. Do you feel like you've been bulldozed? And you've been on the screen all night as well, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I'm not normally there.
Yeah, no, you're normally in the background, with your feet up and, do you know what I mean, drinking cocktails. And I'm normally like having to, but yeah. Well, that was you're going to need 3 cups of cocoa tonight, Shell, aren't you?
No, yeah. I might put a tot in one of them.
At least 3 cups of cocoa tonight. There have been. So if you haven't watched this, you can watch it back on replay. It's on YouTube. You know you better sign up to that newsletter, otherwise you're going to get chopped tomorrow. We're doing chopsies tomorrow. But there has been nugget after nugget after nugget after this inspiration, as in there's like thought-provoking, there's as in like, do you know what? I need to do more. I need to do more. Even if that is just that much more. If you can, do it, because you are making a difference. You are making a difference. We're not going to go on anymore. If you didn't catch the information we shared earlier, I suggest you watch it. We talked about upcoming 20th of May health and wellbeing event. But if you want to know more, that's why you sign up to the newsletter. That's why you're on our pages. You'll get to know more. But yeah, so many exciting things happening. So many people doing so many amazing projects and events and things out there. And not all of them we even know about. We're just finding out about. So if you're doing something and you want to share it, you want to come on, drop us a line, we'll think about it. We don't just let anyone on. And depending on what it is, we'll sift you through and decide where we can fit you in. But yeah, we've got the community Zoom, we've got this show, we've got our Simply Together show. There's shows upon shows. There's opportunities. Yeah, lots and lots of opportunities. So with that, we're going to say good night, because it's been a long night. You'd have thought the internet would have gone, but oh no, not tonight. When we could have done with it going. Only kidding, everyone. Do they understand we're joking, Shell? Do they understand I'm joking? I was thinking like we might be finished by like 9 or something, because the internet goes down. Internet hasn't been as good as this ever.
It really has stayed online. Not a problem this night.
I know, it's incredible. Oh my gosh, can't stop laughing. But we have to honestly thank like Michael Wallace, Ed Akura. He'll tell me off if I got that wrong. Omar, Saj, and obviously finishing up with Joel there. Thanks to all of those that have messaged and participated in the chat. As I say, if you watch it again, what do they watch? Put replay, hashtag replay. Yeah, please share. So much information. I actually have to watch back the shows the following day, because when you're in it, you don't get to, you know, it's just all a bit of a. But when you watch back and you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and then you get messages. So not all messages are on social media. People message us on WhatsApp and on Messenger, telling us certain things and speaking about people. So thanks to all our guests. Thanks to the one who for Shelley Titlers for staying up so late. I'm sorry. Sorry. He's not as old as you lot think. And I'm going to get in, as always. So we're signing off for now. Are we not, Shell?
Yes.
Did our numbers increase apart from just that one? They did.
No, just the one. Like you were talking about emails. Yes, it was just the one.
Okay.
So you're going to give people licks later.
Oh, tell them, Shell, tell them. They're going to get licks. I love it. You're going to get licks later. Oh, our Shell. She knows all the terminology. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled.
Get me into trouble.
Don't be thinking, Shell, she gonna give you licks too. Yeah.
I forget who I'm around sometimes.
You can tell who she's hanging around. She keeps bad company, and it's not me. See what goes. I think it is, Gary, for you. I think it is a definite. She gonna give you licks. So you could tell it's late, guys, because this is the kind of thing that you get on Real Talk with Simply Deez. So we are out of here.
Deez in a minute.
So we are out of here before they take us offline. I think, hang on a minute, I thought this was just a really like, fluffy show.
Yeah.
They talk about licks. Triple X rated. Anyway, we are out of here. We are back in June. Not June. Jeez. Oh my gosh, May. When we're back in May, when we come back in May, we will be. Oh my giddy aunt. We have got the health and wellbeing event on the 20th of May, but we will have guests that are participating in the Black Book Case, which is the 3rd of June. So if you don't know about that, you should do, because it's everywhere, and it's going to be. Shell's going like, oh my God, I can't imagine. Me neither. It's going to be humongous. Anyway, got to go now, guys, and we will catch you on the other side. I have got somebody give me a call right now, so I do need to go. So, for us, good night, and we will see you all soon. Take care. Bye.